Welcome to Porcelain Peak, a strange and scary podcast dissecting all things horror and sci-fi. Here are your hosts, or what's left of them, Tone, John, and Anthony. Enjoy the trivia while you can.
Welcome back to Creature Camp. Focus. Look at me.
Eyes on me.
Hey.
No,
Hey.
eyes on me.
Hey, you
Now,
motherfucker.
eyes on
right
him.
here. Right here, Raptor.
This is season 4 of Porcelain Peak, presented by wordsforwidows.com. This episode, we got special returning guests. Guest? Singular? Anyway, for Chop Talk, we got some Blum Brags and more. Then we're going to play trivia, and then we're talking about all 3 Jurassic World movies. So that's the first one, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion.
It was the first one, the second one, and the third one. So
Yeah.
all 3.
And then read between the lines.
Closer Camps to the 4th kind. And then for our final cut, we're talking about Obi-Wan and Stranger Things. So stay tuned.
Why don't you take an axe and chop it open?
So we say every week, why don't you take an axe and chop my ass, or why don't you take my ass and chop it open?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any action being taken on any of those statements.
What's the question?
Oh, okay. We're
Why
invited.
don't
Yeah,
you?
why don't
Because I
you?
don't want to.
But why?
okay,
It's
so that's
because
the
the
answer.
why
It's just-
don't
yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, so now the pressure's on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well,
That's
anyway.
gaslighting 101, baby.
Hey, so guest, how are you? Randy, returning.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to say his name at any point
Randy.
throughout the episode?
Randy.
That's me. I'm doing well, and I'm happy to be here. It's hot as hell outside, so it's nice
It's
to be.
slightly less hot in this
It's
room.
nice, well, it's really hot in here with all of us.
Hey.
Ooh, yeah, I can
Curb
strip
appeal.
off this shirt
Which-
because I got another Porcelain Peak shirt. Oh, no.
It's your emo shirt.
It's my emo shirt. I thought I was still wearing
sure
my
you get a
other
good
Porcelain
zoom on
Peak
that.
shirt.
Yeah.
Which one of the classic Porcelain Peak boys is your internet boyfriend? And why is it Anthony?
Yeah, but if you can identify what band that was I just showed you, what artist that was, and then buy me a ticket to one of their shows, that would be dope.
That'd be pretty sick.
Well, the other
High
two.
bar.
How are you guys? John?
I'm
Anthony?
doing well. Originally, this was supposed to be a 4-mic setup, and then that ran into some problems. But we made it work. We figured it
Well, I
out.
mean, my name's Anthony. This is Randy. This is Anthony. That's John, so I have no idea what you were thinking with 4 mics.
Yeah. Yeah. Keaton, Clayton, who's a character.
Mike?
No, Michael Clayton.
Oh, that makes more sense.
J Fox.
Michael Myers, Mike Myers.
How are you?
Well, I'm 1 year older than the last time everybody saw me.
One
so-
whole year, not just
Yeah.
a year older.
Oh man, yeah, I did like an Interstellar thing, and I was like, Morph! And pulling books off the shelf and in a black hole and shit. But yeah, other than that, I mean, these guys came out to my party. Sorry, Randy, you didn't get the invite, but hella awkward. But yeah, no, we had a great time
worse, yeah.
playing some utter nonsense and watching Nightmare on Elm Street. And yeah, and then the next day I got to spend all of my birthday money taking my car in to get smogged and oil changed. So
That's always fun.
love being an adult. It fucking rocks,
This is
guys.
30.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's jump into some news.
Yeah,
We're
so
talking about
you wanted to
Jason
talk
Blum.
about Jason Blum's big
Well,
balls.
you want, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, so
I thought it was a
Jason
big brag.
Jason Blum of the Blum House recently did an interview talking about how there's some big news coming up out of Blumhouse. He was doing press for the Black Phone, which comes out this week. We're going to be covering it, I think we said, in Patreon bonus. So look out for that. But Robert Englund, who we recently saw in Stranger Things, is
Maybe.
everybody knows that he's in the show.
Maybe.
So he has been very vocal about the fact that he is 75 years old. He does not want to come back to play Freddy Krueger for another Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And Jason Blum saunters into this interview and says, I could make him come back. He says, I could get anyone back. I mean, Ellen Burstyn was 87. I got her back for the upcoming Exorcist sequel. And then he said, 75? He's young. So he apparently thinks that not only did he say in this interview that he thinks he could get Robert Englund back for another Nightmare movie, but he also wants to get the rights to the Friday the 13th franchise. So basically he just wants to do legacy sequels to all of the big franchises that exist in horror. So
Give
yeah.
us the Freddy vs. Jason 2 that we want.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants is just a sequel to that movie. They don't want
And if
another
they
night.
own the rights, throw Mikey in there. Like, let's just go.
Yeah, throw some Chucky in there since he's hot.
And then a little ghost face. Just mix it all up.
Too far,
man.
John.
Too far? No.
Yeah, I think you should probably keep your
Horror
dreams
world.
in check.
Yeah.
So, knowing the history of Blumhouse, I mean, we haven't seen the entirety of their Halloween trilogy, and we haven't seen their Exorcist yet. But do you
They're
guys
one for
feel-
two. Yeah, they're one for two. If it's closer to Halloween 2018 than it is to Halloween Kills, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Okay, well, I do have something near and dear to your heart to talk about, John, and that is the re-release of The Thing, which is currently happening, and there is a lot of backlash against Fathom Events because apparently this past weekend when they showed the first screening of it, it was a fucking shit show because they showed it in the completely wrong aspect ratio, and I guess most people who saw it at the theater saw it with a fuzzy image, and the picture quality was total shit. And it's uncovered this whole thing about how Fathom Events has like two ways that they deliver their movies to theaters, and one of them is literally a DirecTV DVR that gets the movie recorded onto it and then sent to the theater.
Oh my God.
So you're literally watching a TV DVR copy of the movie on a big screen.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I learned a
The
lot about.
transfer of that to 4K is beautiful.
And they've been touting that at like festivals and stuff, but for some reason, when they did this Fathom event, that's not the copy that they got. So one of the big names in horror, Mick Garris, who has a big following through his podcast and also through just having directed a bunch of movies, horror movies and stuff, he made a big stink about his experience because he loves The Thing, and he was like, "Why this movie that I love so much? Like, why did I waste my money?" And he made such a big stink, and it caused such a big thing on Twitter that Fathom Events went back and
Caused a big thing.
yeah.
He said stink.
So I said caused a big stink. So Fathom went back and decided that they're going to do another re-release with the proper aspect ratio and the proper 4K format on Wednesday.
Oh, tomorrow?
Yeah. So
Shit.
I don't know if there's going to be any more screenings coming up throughout July. I know when I looked at the Fathom Events thing before the last movie I saw, it said July. So I think they might be doing screenings throughout the summer. But hopefully if we do get to go to one, it's in the proper aspect ratio and the proper...
And we're covering it, so if we could watch it now, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
I wanted to go this weekend, and then my dad was like, let's go to lunch at 1. And I was like, God damn
Hey,
it!
be glad that you didn't, because you might have ended up with just a fucking a beer goggles version
Yeah,
of
I
the
could just
movie.
take my glasses off and it would have got normalized.
Put 3D glasses on and it looks normal.
There we go.
So because we talked about, I kept calling her Leah Seydoux. Apparently, the proper name to pronounce, way to pronounce her name is Leah Seydoux. So I wasn't that far off.
What do you say, do man?
Well, I mean, Leah Seydoux, because she has now joined the cast of Dune Chapter 2,
June
Part 2.
June 2?
June
Who
2.
is that person?
She played the Viggo Mortensen's partner in Crimes of the Future.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we were making a Sea-Doo Ski-Doo joke during that
Right.
episode. Yeah, so she joined the cast. So just more people. She's a very small character in the book, so to cast her in that role makes me think that they may be expanding some characters since they have a whole nother movie to do that. And then the couple last little bits of news that I have are very small things. One is that Disney now has the rights to Planet of the Apes. They apparently have a
What?
script that they're happy with from a...
Oh, no, I did hear that.
Yeah, so they have a script that they're happy with, and because it was 20th Century Fox, I think.
Yeah.
And then, when they got that. So they are now looking to cast a lead actor to helm whatever this new, they say, trilogy of Planet of the Apes movies is going to be. So as a Planet of the Apes fan, I thought you might find that slightly interesting.
Now, is it do we know if it's going to have anything to do with the Caesar movies?
I
I've
don't
heard
think so.
different things for the last couple of years, but I don't know if there's any truth to it, what's happening now.
I dug all of the Caesar films.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about it loosely being, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about Andy Serkis, so who knows? And then the thing that was upsetting a lot of people on the internet today is that Sony has announced or released some more information about their Aaron Taylor Johnson starring Kraven the Hunter movie, and about the fact that they are making Kraven the Hunter an animal activist vegan character, which a lot of people are upset about because his name is literally Kraven the Hunter.
It'll make a lick of sense.
And so they were like, well, hunting is bad, so we're changing him. And so, of course, everybody's very, very upset about that because
he's a bad
it's
guy.
Sony. And but it's Sony's MO is, so it's a Spider-Man bad guy? Anti-hero. He's an anti-hero now. They're an anti-hero now. That's an anti-hero.
It's like people tell them, don't do this shit, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Well, but now they're just getting gaslit left and right because they're like, yeah, let's re-release Morbius again. We'll go see it. Duh.
They're
new-
re-releasing it again?
No.
But
They're
we were
saying-
joking about like, oh, we re-released it a third time because we were all busy that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the thing for Craven should be I'm craving some Craven, and then that'll be the meme.
And
That's
he-
all the chop talk I have.
Well, hey, it'd just be him just watching some Wes Craven films.
Yeah,
Watch
I like
a little
that.
Scream, a little Nightmare, a little Last House on the Left.
The Hills Have Thighs.
Hey!
No, sorry, I was watching the wrong movie. Anywho, anybody else got some news? Got any news?
That's good enough for me.
So I think we're Gucci.
Cool.
All
Let's
right,
keep it
that'll wrap
trucking.
it up for a chop. We'll go ahead and get started with that trivia.
That Christmas house of wax, the fog, piranha. It's one of those, right? Right?
John.
Shake it.
Show me how you sing that triv.
Ooh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can follow that.
Yeah, happy to cure.
Show me.
Your trivia tune this week is trivia.
Kate Bush.
Running up that hill.
It is Kate Bush running up that hill.
Nice.
For reasons, because Randy
For
hasn't watched.
reasons.
Because Randy hasn't watched any of it
Reasons.
yet.
All right.
I'm sure he's heard that song on the internet though. Now.
Yeah.
It
it's
was
so
on
fucking
that
popular.
vampire movie.
Yes, the trailer for the vampire movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Daybreakers.
Daybreakers.
Yeah, it was the placebo cover.
It was. Yeah. All right, we're playing Past the Popcorn, all genres edition.
Wrong.
So, how it's going to work is we're going to read a year and a genre. If the person guesses, they can get 5 points. Any clue after that gets them 1 less point. I'll read to John. John's going to read to Anthony. Anthony will read to Randy, atypical fashion. And Randy back to me.
And if he's picking up his phone, he's just plugging in scores. He's not cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
Call you Michael Cheaton over here.
John, your first one is a 1984 comedy.
84 comedy. Go ahead and give me the quote, please.
All
He
right,
can show
here we
you
go.
because you're not guessing his cards. So.
Maybe now you'll never slime a guy with a position collider, huh? Nope, that's not right. Positron.
I'm gonna say based
Maybe now you'll never slime a guy with a positron collider, huh?
on. I'm gonna say based on your inability to read it that it's Ghostbusters.
Yep.
I'll take 4 on that one. Anthony, you have a 2003 comedy film.
All right, give me that first clue, baby.
My Will Be Done.
What the fuck? Bruce Almighty.
It is indeed Bruce Almighty.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Nice.
It just came to me like a message from God. Randy, you have a 2006 thriller.
I'm ready.
Okay. Do you want a clue?
Oh, yeah, I would.
Okay. Your clue is a tagline. So dark, the con of man.
Okay.
What year was it again?
2006 thriller. So dark, the con of man.
I'll take another.
The cast is Tom Hanks and Audrey Tautou.
Tattoo.
I don't know Audrey Tattoo. Give me another.
The characters are Agent Sophie Naveau and Dr. Robert Langdon.
Is this, what's one all the church people got upset about?
I mean, that's just all movies.
Is it the Da Vinci Code?
It is the Da
Yeah,
Vinci
yeah,
Code.
okay.
Nice,
There you go.
nice.
2?
Yep.
Yeah.
Would you have gotten that from So Dark, the Con of Man? Yeah. That's why I was like, fuck, when I saw these cards and thought I was reading to you.
It's my guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
All right. You have a 2005 drama.
Drama.
I'll go ahead and take the quote.
Uh-huh. All right. If you was hit by a truck and you were lying out in that gutter dying and you had time to sing one song.
Is that the end of it?
That's it.
Oh.
What was the year in the
One song,
Category
one
again?
opportunity.
2005 drama.
2005 drama?
You were lying? If you was?
Yeah, you want me to read it again?
Nope.
Okay.
Sure don't, buddy. If you were
Mike could.
I could not. Go ahead and give me the yellow category there.
I think you probably get it here. Joaquin Phoenix and Reese without her spoon.
Oh, Reese's Witherspoon.
That Witherspoon.
Walk the line.
You got it.
Nice job.
Good job.
Good thing you didn't say walk hard.
That's 3.
Hard.
Hard.
All right.
Down life.
Scores.
Rocky road.
John, Anthony at 4, Randy at 2, and I am at 3. John, you got a 1979 war film.
79 war film. Go ahead and give me the quote, please.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
I should have ripped it. Apocalypse Now.
That is correct. Good job.
I
for
should have
4
ripped
points.
it. I had an inkling.
Yeah, 70s war movie.
Yeah. Anthony, you have a 1999 drama film.
Okay, give me that first clue.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
I always get these fucking super vague quotes that could apply to literally any movie.
That's pretty funny.
I'm going to have to go with the next clue.
Yeah, this one will get you there. Brad Pitt and Edward Norton.
Fight Club.
It is indeed Fight Club.
Yeah.
You should at some point during this episode paste in a little like one frame
Penis?
Tyler Durden.
One frame penis.
Or
yeah.
penis.
Or penis, yeah.
No, don't do that.
Hey, we're not getting monetized. Doesn't fucking matter at this point.
We might get our channel banned. Let's not do that.
Come on, man. You got to walk the line.
Walk hard down the line.
Randy, you have a 1942 drama.
Wish me luck. All right, let's have a quote.
The quote is, "Of all the gin joints and all the towns and all the world, she walks into mine."
Come on, baby. I'm going to hit you with this one. A little long neck as fuck.
That means he knows it and thinks you should know
Is
it.
that a Panic at the Disco song? Of all the gin joints, or is that Fall Out Boy?
It's
I think-
Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy. Yeah, and it was one of those that does the long ass titles. This isn't helping you at all.
No,
but
no, I don't know. Second language here. All right, what's the
The cast?
the cast?
Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman.
Not helping me. Let's have another.
The characters are Ilsa Lund and Rick Blaine.
I think I'm gonna.
Take the star.
One more.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the last one here.
The story is a Moroccan nightclub owner is faced with a difficult choice when an old flame comes back into his life.
Casablanca.
It is Casablanca.
Don't know how I got it, but cool.
Yeah.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
Go for this.
1995 drama.
95 drama.
Go ahead and quote me, sir.
Mr. President, you've got bigger problems than losing me. You just lost my vote.
Oh shit.
Losing me? You just lost my vote? Oof. I'll have to take the cast there.
Annette Bening and Michael Douglas.
When was he president?
I mean, if we're talking historically, never.
Thanks, John.
Just president of my heart.
Fuck, man.
Got yourself a stumper here, bro.
You guys know it?
I mean, I can read it from here.
I
but-
have an
Mr.
idea, but
Eyesight.
I have an idea, but I'm glad that it's not mine.
Okay. I guess give me the characters.
President Andrew Shepard. President Andrew Shepard.
Yeah.
And Sydney Ellen Wade.
Don't you love it when the other guy's like, well, I'm glad this isn't my card.
Fuck. I, don't,
My face went.
I guess give me the story. I don't know. Maybe that'll jog something.
The U.S. president becomes romantically involved with an environmental lobbyist.
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas.
Michael.
If it helps, I've never heard of this movie in my life.
I don't know. Primary colors.
Is it All the President's Men? No.
It is the American president.
Ah, yeah, no shot. No
Have
shot.
either of you guys heard of The American President?
Nope.
Yeah, I had never heard of it either.
Dang it!
It's like a fucking
A thing.
indecent exposure or whatever.
No.
movie I had last week.
Indecent proposal.
Indecent proposal, yeah.
Indecent exposure.
That's a different movie.
This is where we show the penis.
John and Anthony have 8, and Randy and I have 3.
Brought you down
Wait.
to my level.
What?
No, I don't. I didn't get... Yeah, what do you mean?
He had to take the second clue on the last one.
Oh.
So
he's
I should
got
be a
7.
point behind him.
Okay.
Hey, John, how about you just calm yourself down a
Hey,
little bit
there's
and let me have that point?
I believe there's a potential streak at play here.
For
I think I won last week.
Nope.
Or I won the week before.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Hey.
That makes more sense.
Getting a little too big for your
Then
britches.
let him keep the
a little
point.
big for your britches, Brasher.
All right, John, you got a 1939 drama.
39?
Yes.
Oh, come on. You know the 30s like the back of your hand.
What the
Your
fuck
old
is
decrepit
that?
hand.
Funny. When you said yours, I was going to say a quote thinking that it was that a quote, and then that wasn't. And this is the quote that I was thinking.
Okay.
That's very cryptic.
I'm going to need that quote, please.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
That'd be Gone with the Wind.
Incorrect. That's right.
Gone with the Wind, actually.
Wind.
4 points.
I'll take 4 on that one.
All right.
Anthony, you have a 1998 action film.
Okay. Give me that first clue, please.
Tagline: The fastest hands in the East meet the biggest mouth in the West.
That's a good one.
What genre did you say it was?
Action.
The fastest hands in the wet?
Fastest hands in the East meet the biggest mouth in the West.
Rush Hour?
It is Rush Hour. Nice job.
Okay. that one got my heart going. All right.
You know how to use one of these?
Randy, you have a 2000 fantasy.
I thought you were going to say a year there after 2000.
I was like,
Fantasy.
2000.
Fantasy.
Let's have that bottom hint.
The bottom hint is, I have here a list of names of identified mutants living right here in the United States.
Ooh.
X-Men.
It is X-Men. Fucking nailed it.
Nice job.
Nice.
Little 4
Randy.
pointer.
It's kind of a dead giveaway.
I saw a tweet today that was like, Magneto's plan in the first X-Men was super solid because it was like, just find the senator that's fucking shit up for your kind, your group, and just turn him into gross goo. I was like, yeah,
pretty
that's
sick
a
plan.
pretty good
Fail-proof.
plan. Yeah.
Can't
Too
do
big
it.
to fail.
You have a 1966 Western.
Ooh. Wow, fuck. I'm fucked either way, so go ahead and give me the quote.
I have faith in you here. There's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. You dig.
Oh, this is that Holes movie we were talking about the other day.
You got to go dig them holes.
2 people, and then...
Piecing the quote back together.
Just the arithmetic behind the head right here.
I don't fucking know. Go ahead and give me the cast.
Sergio Leone as director, starring Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that narrows it down.
I think it narrows it down to 3.
Yeah.
Easy for me to say. Sorry.
I don't know. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice job.
Nailed it. The only of those 3 I haven't seen yet because it's like over 3 hours long.
Holy
But I
cow.
watched Fistful of Dollars and for a few dollars more. Very good movies. Fucking gorgeous.
How many points did I get? 2?
Gorgeous.
Correct. Well, you got it.
3.
You got it after the first hand.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
On
3.
the second hand, yeah.
John's at 12, Anthony's at 11, Randy's at 7, and I am bringing up the lead, or the rear.
The lead. Caboose. I'm bringing up the leader.
Yeah, with 6. Fucking whatever. John, 1968 sci-fi.
68 science
Oh, come
fiction.
on. Give him something hard.
Give
him
I
something
want to
hard.
rip this so bad, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take the quote.
Okay. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Fucking ripped it. God damn it. 2001: A Space Odyssey.
That is correct.
I should have ripped it. I'm so mad. Anthony, you have a 2001 animation film.
There's too much animation. I can't risk it for that biscuit. I'm going to have to take the first clue.
Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it? We both have layers.
Wow.
Sam. That's going to be Shrek.
It's indeed Shrek.
All right. This is the other one that I was like, fuck, when I saw it, when I thought I was reading to you.
You really fucked me today, Randy.
That'll be $50.
Pay the man. Randy, you got a 1999 fantasy film.
My hopes are high. Let's have that quote.
Your quote is, know this creature is the bringer of death. He will never eat, he will never sleep, and he will never stop.
I know this movie.
You're so mad right now.
It makes me think of...
Yeah, I'm fucking mad. Are you fucking kidding me? Of all the movies and all the bars.
All the movies and all the gin joints.
What year was it?
1999.
Okay, all right. Let's have the next hint.
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, it's the Mummy.
It is the Mummy. Rachel Weisz. Yep. You must not read from the book.
How many points did you get?
3.
3. Yeah.
Second hand, yeah.
Characters were Legionnaire Rick O'Connell, High Priest Imhotep.
Priestess.
That's in the new one.
All right, let's see. You ready?
Yeah.
2001 fantasy.
Go ahead and give me the quote.
All right. Even the smallest person can change the course of the future.
Come on, baby.
I could have read it more in character.
No, the best thing to do is to read it as out of character. as
Oh,
humanly
Yeah, that's why he did the whole thing with his quote. If it's too easy, we try to make it a little bit difficult by using a different accent. It never works. The quotes are just too easy, but
Only once I think it has ever thrown somebody off, and I think I did it to you, and I felt a little bad afterward.
Yeah, it was the Brokeback Mountain one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because he's like, I want to quit.
Because you didn't read it gay enough.
Even the smallest. What is it?
Person.
I don't know. Give me that characters. Or cast, sorry. What is it?
It's cast. Ian McKellen, Elijah Wood.
Ian Malcolm, Elijah Wood.
The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring?
Just Lord of the Rings. Yeah, you got it.
Oh. Well, that's not a good.
This is a bad card.
Yeah,
Bad card.
Full title.
I know. Well, at least have the subtitle.
It's because it said even the smallest person and not the smallest hobbit. Fucked you up.
Oh, you're right. You're right. All right. Well,
Yeah,
fuck,
you right.
man. John's at 16, Anthony's at 15, Randy's at 10, and I'm at 9.
Give John a hard one, okay?
He's going on.
Maybe.
Right after he's done with Randy.
The audience is asking for it.
John, you got a 1996 Sci-Fi.
96 sci-fi?
Yes.
Go ahead and give me the quote, please.
Tagline is, nice planet, we'll take it.
This could be one of two things.
Could be a lot of things, John.
Could be a lot of things, John.
Don't narrow it down so quick.
Don't let it down. Yeah, really stress out about it.
Go ahead and give
Could
go ahead and
you
give me
maybe
the
open your mind
cast.
up a little bit?
Cast? Sure. It's director Tim Burton
Mars Attacks.
and Jack Nicholas.
Jack Nicholas, the golfer.
Yeah, that's correct. Mars Attacks. Yeah.
I was between that and Men in Black was too close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Anthony, you have a 2004 animation.
How many points you get? 3?
I took 3, yes.
Can I get that first clue, please?
You had another animation, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you save the world, it always manages to get back in jeopardy again.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I couldn't read it from here. Don't worry about it. The Incredibles?
It is The Incredibles.
Whoa,
Nice.
nice.
Brad
Brought
Bird.
it back to tied up.
Yeah, I was very nervous to swing on that one, but I knew I had to if I wanted to try to tie it up. So, Randy, you have a 2006 drama.
Oh boy, all right, let's hear it.
Your quote is, "If I could be anything instead of a Ugandan, I would be a Scot."
What year did you say?
2006 drama.
I'm pretty sure I know this one.
I think I do too.
Doesn't make him feel any better.
Let's have the next clue.
The cast is Forrest Whitaker and James McAvoy.
I saw this in theaters.
Is this like Hotel Rwanda?
It's The Last King of
The Last
Scotland.
King of
Yeah,
Scotland.
you know, I didn't know that one.
There's a scene.
I
There's a
never
scene
heard
where
of it,
James
so I
McAvoy
wouldn't have known
rolls
either.
Forrest Whitaker's belly with a baseball bat to make him fart. Very memorable.
Whoa, okay.
Stuck with you, huh?
Do you want to start doing this?
Yeah, let's do this. Do the damn thing.
All right, I think I got.
Last King of Scott brand toilet paper.
I think I got an easy one for you here. 1990 thriller.
All right. Go ahead and give me that qual, Oranda.
Bum, 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 bum.
I am your number one fan. There's nothing to worry about. You're going to be just fine.
90?
You're my number
Correct.
one
I'll say Misery.
guy.
Yep.
Good job, sir.
Loves
All
company. Especially if it's James Caan.
Oh, Connell.
All right, John and Anthony are at 19. Randy's at 10, and I am at 13.
And he's 30. I'm 33.
Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
John, you have a 1986 drama.
86 drama. Go ahead and give me the quote, please.
I never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone?
Well, Jesus is in it, so
Thank-
that helps you.
I'm like, thank God I don't have the same friends I had when I was 12. You knew those assholes.
like I did when I was 12.
I think Dominic was my friend when I was 12.
Yep, I think my statement stands.
Is it Stand By Me?
That is correct. Wow, so good.
Stand by me.
Good job, John. I mean,
I'm having a good week, all right?
you're having a good week.
I should have
4 points.
I should have ripped 2001. I should have done it in his
You
voice.
should have.
Anthony, you have a 2005 drama.
Give me that first clue, please.
This is no time for men who oppose Senator McCarthy's methods to keep silent.
We don't know a lot about presidential movies, huh?
Don't know a lot about presidential movies.
Unless it's Independence Day.
This one is going to be a toughie.
What year was it?
2005.
Let me take a little look. See.
I think I have a vague
Oh.
Okay.
At least I know this movie.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have gotten it for me.
What year was it?
2005.
2005.
guess. Space Odyssey.
It's crazy how that movie was the future, and now we're, 2 decades past, and we're not even fucking close.
No, they're like barely in space.
So if I
So if
you still have another question, right?
No, I have
No.
answered all of my questions.
So either way, I'll
You gotta guess now to tie.
yeah.
So if you've got any idea, because I don't know if the rest of the clues will do it for you.
Can you read the quote again?
This is no time for men who oppose Senator McCarthy's methods to keep silent.
I might have messed you up saying it's a presidential movie, because I don't know if that's accurate.
Probably more accurately, a government movie based on the word senator. Government cheese.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to take another clue. Just see if I can get it.
George Clooney as is the director, and then David Strathairn.
It was his directorial debut. If I remember correctly. Maybe not. That might have been something else.
Yeah, fuck it. I have no clue.
So next quote or next thing.
I mean, you can just skip them. It doesn't matter. Because even if I get it here, I can't tie you. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter.
I'll just give you the story and see if you can get there. A 1950s CBS journalist speaks his mind and helps stop McCarthyism.
Yeah, I don't know. What is it?
It's good night and good luck. I wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah, no clue. We need to watch more political movies, apparently.
I mean, maybe I don't want
Yeah,
to.
that was like the guy's sign off when he finished the show. It was like,
Good night and good luck.
Makes sense. All right, Randy, you have a 2001 war film.
War. What is it good for?
The quote is, "Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy."
Okay, let's have another clue.
The clue, the cast is Ben
Pearl
Affleck
Harbor.
and Josh Hartnett. Yep, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. Okay. You ready?
What does he get?
Little heartthrob. He's 3 for that. Little heartthrob.
All right. I learned that the whole carrots are good for your eyes was World War II propaganda
Really?
because
I've been eating carrots every goddamn day, and I can't see a fucking thing without these
pilots
glasses.
couldn't really see. And then the British developed a radar system, but they didn't want the Germans to know that they had a radar system. And so they're like, yeah, we just feed our pilots a hell of carrots.
I'm sure that's exactly how they said it, too.
Yeah, a hell of
We just
carrots.
feed our pilots a hella carrots.
Hell of carrots. Pretty much. And then, so that was like propagated, and people thought that was real. So carrots don't. Like, they have stuff in them that's good for you, but you'd have to eat a massive amount to really make a difference for
And then
your
you
eyes.
turn orange.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is true,
before
but-
your eyes get
And then you turn into Carrot Top, but that's only if you mix carrots with your
That's
with
a
your
nightmare,
steroids.
dude. Well, congratulations,
Don't
John.
inject.
That was Is the game over?
He still got one more question.
Oh well, fuck you then, John. Keep
Damn.
going.
What's the score between you two?
Anthony has 19.
Which Anthony?
On the show,
How much
he
do
is
you have?
Tone.
I have 13.
Okay, all right. 2008 sci-fi. Is it better to be feared or respected? And I say, is it too much to ask for both?
That quote sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it's a pretty good line. He did a good job not reading it like the character.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to take the cast.
Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jeff Bridges.
Iron Man.
Built this in a cave. In a box of scraps.
Got it.
All right. Well, John won with
Yay.
23. Anthony with 19.
Hey man, I was living on a prayer there.
I got 16, and Randy in the rear.
You saying you were halfway there?
Bringing up the caboose. Yeah, that was a tough game. I thought I had it this week, but I'm just gonna have to keep trying. Keep running up that hill.
Yep. After I fumbled on Mars Attacks, I thought you were gonna snake it from me.
I just had to get fucking what's fucking
Yeah, it's best to just forget the movie even
Yeah.
exists.
Then it'll come up again just to spite me.
Cards. Doink. Cards.
How did trivia treat you, Randy?
Not bad.
Not bad, not bad. It's fun. Like I've
You say
lived
that
my
like
life.
you're holding him captive. Like
Yeah,
it's fun.
yeah, it's
Trust
fun.
me.
I won. It's fun.
It's like that.
It's fun.
Say it to the camera. It's like that TikTok where it's the guy who's like. He's like, I get to introduce you to my girlfriend, and then
yeah.
they keep adding to it like a gun, and then like
You
a
don't want to do
newscast.
this.
That's pretty good. That's
Awesome.
gonna wrap it up for trivia. If you like trivia, we have bonus trivia episodes that we're gonna be changing a little bit. But for now, I did one that was dinosaur movies. John, you did one that was
Chris movies.
Yeah, Hollywood Chris films poorly described.
And
Yep.
I did Jurassic Park / Jurassic World quotes.
right.
And Randy just stayed here and looked handsome.
I did nothing. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I guessed a little bit. But so those bonus episodes that we do weekly, we are going to be switching up a little bit. So for that, I think next week we are covering the Black Hat, right?
The Black Phone.
Black Phone.
You got yourself into the Chris movies.
Chris movies, yeah. The Black Cat.
Cat in the Hat.
Cat in the Hat. We're covering Cat in the Hat.
Look, oh,
so be there, be square.
Hey,
Don't say-
don't tempt people. They'll
Yeah,
want to
don't-
hear
yeah,
us
don't say
do a
that.
commentary on
Covering
Cat
the
in the Hat.
brand new
Umbrella Academy Season 3 Episode 1.
based on the
Graphic novel series by Gerard Way and Gabriel Baugh.
All right, and then John's gonna play some robot shit and some ads, and then we'll see you with our final discussion. I gotta be done.
Domo Arigato. Hit that transition.
Our final.
Head on over to patreon.com/Porcelain Peak for hours and hours of additional content, merch, and more. For $5 a month you get access to our weekly trivia bonus episodes, where we write each other new quizzes for every episode. For $10 you get access to our monthly /Terpiece theater commentary tracks, where we crack wise over the top of movies for your enjoyment, alongside a monthly print designed by Anthony Silva. For $20 you can join our producer tier, where you will get early access to our episodes, a t-shirt every 6 months, and the ability to help us come up with ideas for future episodes. All versions of the episode are provided ad-free on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/Porcelain Peak to help support the show.
Head on over to porcelainpeakshop.com and purchase some merch to help support the show, or purchase our Horror is for Everyone shirt to support new causes every month. This month we are donating all proceeds from this shirt to ACLU, because we believe in a person's right to the autonomy of their own fucking body. Share a picture with your merch on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook and we will give you a shout out on a future episode. Again, that's porcelainpeakshop.com to help support the show and look fly as hell in the process. Thanks to everyone for watching. Now back to Tone, John, and Anthony.
You want to see something really scary?
Welcome back. We're talking about the Jurassic remakes. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World Dominion.
Yep.
Starring Chris Pratt.
Yep.
And Bryce Dallas Howard. And those are the two that are in all three, right?
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio is the bad guy in the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, what about Henry Wu?
Henry Wu.
Henry Wu. You all right?
BD Wong.
Yep.
Yeah. And also the little kid from Insidious with the helmet hair. Mm-hmm. The kid from Love, Simon, plays the cool brother.
Yeah.
Judy
is that
Greer.
him?
Yeah, Judy Greer's in it as their
well,
mom.
I was just saying those are the three in the franchise.
I just, Jurassic World is such a special movie to me that I want to make sure that all the cast gets shout-outs.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. Who directed that? Was Colin Trevorrow?
Trevorrow, yeah.
Okay, that's first. We're
Who
going to
also
go right
directed
into
The Book of
Jurassic
Henry.
World. The Book of what?
The Book of Henry. It's a
What is
terrible
that?
movie. You don't need to see it.
Oh.
That's why he didn't do the next Star Wars he was supposed to do. It's because the movie he did before that tanked so hard.
What was The Book of Henry?
That's the movie. It's called The Book of Henry. It's got Jaden Martell, the kid from Knives Out and the It movies.
Uh-huh.
And he's like a hella smart cancer kid or something.
A hella smart cancer kid.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Well, this is basically just a remake of Jurassic Park, but it's also a reboot. Soft reboot, is that what they call them?
Yeah.
And
It's a legacy sequel,
sort of, yeah. And it's just, what if Jurassic Park had come to fruition?
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is.
What if the park didn't get all dinosaured?
Yeah. And then it's like, hey, now we're open to everybody, and we got gyroscopes.
Yeah, we got little balls that roll around that make me wonder how when do they run over dinosaur shit, and then does that just smear all over the ball when they're rolling around? Like, that would be an awful experience. A lot of logistical questions about how this park works.
I don't like this movie very much. I feel like it is the same thing, just very much bigger, but also it loses a lot of the magic. There's no magic to it.
We talked about how I felt like, yes, Jurassic Park 3 had all of the Monster Mash creature feature stuff, but it lost the wonder of the dinosaurs, and that's the entirety of this trilogy, I feel like, has just completely lost the, what made the Jurassic movie, at least the first two, special, which is the wonder of the dinosaurs. And in this, they even make references in the dialogue about these aren't real dinosaurs, we just made monsters, and you just wanted more teeth, and they're like, oh well, we needed to bioengineer a new dinosaur because the crowds got bored, and it's like, no,
This was sponsored by Verizon.
Yeah, it's like, no, we didn't get bored. We just want to see you make a good Jurassic Park movie. We're not bored with dinosaurs. We don't need Indominus Rex. We don't need that shit. We just need you to make a good Jurassic Park movie. And for being a legacy sequel or whatever, and this came out around the time when this was all starting to become a popular thing with rebooting franchises like this, they only brought back BD Wong from the original movies, and it almost feels like by the time they got everybody back into these movies, it was 10 years too late for what they were trying to do. And it's I really would have liked to have seen the characters we see in Dominion in this movie, since it is basically just a clone of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problem
their DNA.
a lot of the problem that I run into with this, like you said, with the lack of that wonder and just having it be just a bunch of action spectacle, is you don't have the audience as a character in there. It's you have a person who is
who works at the park.
Yeah, who works at the park, and then you have another person who also works at the park.
Lives at the park.
Yeah, and
he's
then
the Hagrid of Jurassic World.
Yeah, and then you have two children, and one of them couldn't be fucked to enjoy anything about the dinosaurs.
One is unfuckable.
and one is just trying to get fucked. He's just staring at women.
Yeah,
but
he's such a creep.
I think because we live in Jurassic Park through the eyes of Alan Grant, and I think that the value that you get from that is completely missing from every other movie afterward, but especially these three. And that sucks. I mean, because that's part of what makes that movie so special, so memorable, and has it have that nice warm blanket of nostalgia, is that you have that character who is the audience representation of oh, fuck, this is super cool. There's dinosaurs here.
And the closest we get to that with this is the younger brother.
Yeah, and nobody wants to be a younger brother.
Yeah, and he basically just gets shit on the whole movie for feeling feelings, being upset about his parents getting a divorce. His brother's like, shut the fuck up, you fucking nerd. I'm trying to get laid. Stop crying about the divorce.
Trying to get a handy in the gyroscope.
Yeah, and it's not until they run away from a dinosaur that they bond together. But there's a lot of things about this movie, most of it's set during the daytime, and they decide to use almost the only animatronic dinosaur in this is the long neck dinosaur that Chris Pratt goes up and touches.
In the petting zoo.
Yeah, and the petting zoo. Outside of that, it's all CG dinosaurs, and it's all during the daytime, which I feel like just really literally shines a light on the fact that it's just an inferior set of dinosaurs and an inferior... Because, I mean, yeah, the effects are great, but it's not... Again, it's like, we want to see real dinosaurs.
Hey,
I want to see real dinosaurs.
We get some of this, though. Little...
Yeah, and the plot's just kind of dumb as shit, too. But that's kind of... They get progressively thinner and dumber as the movies go on in this trilogy.
I feel like, to an extent, all three are remakes of their counterparts.
They are, 100%.
Because we get Back to the Park, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's this one.
And then the park goes awry.
Yeah, right? And then Fallen Kingdom is them sending people from the first movie back under false pretenses, and then the people that send them there betray them, capture the dinosaurs,
and then
take
bring
them back to mainland, and then shit goes awry.
Yeah.
And then the third one is them going to a new island to save a kid. It's like, holy shit, they just did the same thing that we already did.
Yeah, they really did. And this, like, especially this first one, too, you realize how much... the first movie was, you have like the whole subplot of Dennis Nedry kind of like sabotaging stuff at the park, and you have the hurricane come in. It's a series of like kind of uncontrolled, like unforeseen circumstances and sabotage that kind of ends up fucking all of the main characters over through no fault of their own. In this movie, it's literally all just dumb shit characters making dumb decisions like throughout the entire movie, getting tricked by a dinosaur like in the paddock and getting it released. And then literally when what's his face from Amazing Spider-Man, Richard Parker, the guy who runs the park, is like, I'm trying to remember the actor's name, he passed away recently, when he's saying like, oh, what the fuck did you do to my dinosaur? And he's like, oh, we put in some cuttlefish, we put in some of this, we put in some of that. It's like, we knew it was going to come with all the behavioral side effects and everything. And it's like, so you knew it was going to camouflage and turn invisible and go predator mode and all this stuff. It's just, it's ridiculous. But Randy, how do you feel about Jurassic World?
Yeah. I feel like it suffered from a couple of things, like the first movie and even like the whole trilogy that came out before it seemed like it had events in the story. It seemed like there were like crafted plots, at least, even if they kind of thinned out through the trilogy. But this felt like it was mostly like a bunch of moments tied together with a theme. The theme was disaster movie and dinosaurs. And it felt like they also did this really weird thing where they tried to humanize a lot of the dinosaurs too, which made me like really uncomfortable.
You're my boy, Blue, or girl.
Yeah, and then like that kind of picks up more as the trilogy's, release too, which was also kind of weird. But
well, it feels like 3 kind of started that, because that's when they start getting into like, oh, the raptors can like set traps and the raptors can do all this, and then on top of that they have the Spinosaurus like stalking them throughout the entire movie and like wanting revenge for some reason. And it's like they took that idea that I didn't love and made me kind of weirded out in Jurassic Park 3, and we're just like, okay, let's do that to all the dinosaurs. Now the Indominus Rex is hella smart and like
playing games with them, basically.
Yeah, like they even question at one point like, oh, so you think the dinosaur is like reflecting on its own existence? And they're like, oh, it's having an existential crisis and it's scared. And then the raptors are all like trained characters. When it's like, and Vincent D'Onofrio is just like the most stock standard, like, I'm the military and we're going to use them as weapons. And in this movie and in the next movie, especially in the next movie, I'm like, who in their right mind would be like, okay, so I have the option to either send a tank into battle, where if a machine gun gets fired at it, the bullets just bounce off and it has a giant fucking gun on it, or I can send a pack of raptors that the second they run into bullets, they're dead. And are no use against weapons, artillery or anything like that. It's like, why do you think that this dinosaur, this unpredictable wild
laser
animal,
beams on their heads?
And then the second one, it's like, okay, so
lasers.
if you're going to direct your raptor with a laser beam to go after a target, that laser beam could be your sight on your gun that you just shoot the guy with. There's a shortcut to the solution that you're looking for here, which is just use the laser sight to shoot the guy.
Yeah.
Anywho, totally agree.
No. Good side points there. I feel like there was like a lot of like current events subtext in the first movie, and it felt like a distraction to me from like what I wanted to see, which was like a cool, well-written dinosaur plot. And the other thing that really took me out of the first movie the most was the really hard like nostalgia grabs. Like they packed it full of so much nostalgia, like, oh look at the Brontosaurus. It's doing the thing from the first movie. You see it. Oh, it's sad because it's gonna. Oh, nostalgia. Like,
yeah,
man, you spent way too much time just on that one shot, and then the whole movie was kind of full of that. Like the same thing with like the one-liners. Like the whole trilogy was kind of like that. But by the time the third one came out, I was just kind of like, I guess I'm just expecting this. But for the first one, it wasn't what I was expecting, which made it really disappointing to me. There was some things that I thought visually was really well designed. Like I enjoyed that a lot. I liked some of like the scenes where they're kind of trying to escape from the dinosaurs while the island's on a meltdown. Like that was fun seeing more dinosaurs, but I don't need to go to the theaters to see all that. Like I could just like watch a documentary on Nat Geo.
Yeah,
Or
get
you
more
just watch
accurate dinosaur
Jurassic
information.
Park.
Yeah, or I could just watch Jurassic Park.
That's
or read Jurassic Park. Holy hell! Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think is kind of the going to be the concluding statement for, like, that would be my review for pretty much every Jurassic Park movie after the first one, which is like that was okay or bad and just made me want to watch Jurassic Park. Like they all just connect back to like just watch Jurassic Park. Like, and that's all you need.
I mean, you can do more cool stuff with the CGI. I get that, but it doesn't mean that it's what you want, and it doesn't mean that it's going to play well.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, sure, there's giant island, there's more people, there's more shit going on, but it takes away from the horror elements of the first one, and it takes away from the discovery and the magic of the first one.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on, because you mentioned that was how they tied in like current events, and
subtext.
Yeah, it wasn't subtext in this. It's very overtly like anti-commercialism.
They're trying to do like almost a satire in
Yes.
the movie, and it doesn't really work.
But
It breaks the immersion.
And what's cool about at least the first three, I would say, is that most of that is actual subtext. So it's hidden under a layer of, you know, all the other cool shit that you get from those movies, by comparison to this, where it just wears it on its face and it makes it difficult to get around.
Yeah, it's like the difference between giving you the option to think, or forcing you to make a decision, versus telling you what to think. And I think that's the difference in subtext versus the not subtext.
Yeah, subtext versus actual text.
Well, it even leads to really strange decisions, like like when the pteranodons or whatever are attacking, and they have the woman who up until this point has basically just been like the slightly distracted corporate babysitter for these two kids, who gets violently murdered by pteranodons and the mosasaur coming up and chomping her. And it's this long, extended, harrowing scene of a character who really we've had no time with. And it's not like we have beef with her. And it literally just seems like it's supposed to send a message like, oh, she's a corporate snob, so she's going to get eaten by dinosaurs and torn apart. And then you have Jimmy Buffett running with his margaritas, like away from Margaritaville, doing his little cameo.
Drop the margaritas! Save your own damn life, dummy!
Yeah, and it's just like that. Yeah, it feels like it's just completely missed the mark in terms of trying to capture any of the magic from the first one. It's literally just a case of, what if we did the same thing but bigger and without any of the heart? It's just like a bigger shell version of Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs are bigger. The dinosaurs are faster. He rides a motorcycle with the dinosaurs. I remember seeing the trailer for this movie and being like, this looks dumb as fuck. And so I wasn't terribly wrong on that front. But the one good thing I will say about this movie is that it's better than the two that come after it, I think.
Yeah. There's at least moments of fun in this.
I do like when the Indominus first gets out of the paddock and Chris Pratt has to like roll under the car and put I assume it was like dog piss all over him to hide his scent.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of scary, like with the big feet walking by. When the kids,
That was just D'Onofrio.
yeah, it's just an imitation of the car scene, but the two kids like in the sphere when the dinosaur is like chomping down on the glass and like breaking it. It's got a little bit of tension, even though the whole time you're thinking, yeah, they did this already with the T-Rex in the first one, with the car, with the kids.
But that's on purpose.
Yeah, no, it is on purpose. All of it's on purpose. And then they even have a detour where we get to go back. The kids go and find like the original park or whatever.
A Jeep.
Yeah, a Jeep that it's like, there's no way the tires aren't rotted. The gasoline isn't bad at this point. She's like, hey, kid, remember that time we fixed up Grandpa's Malibu or whatever? It's like, okay. Suspending my disbelief.
Yeah, that's where the movie lost me.
Yeah. Genetically modified dinosaurs? Pfft,
I'm there.
easy breezy. Fixing up a Jurassic Park Jeep from the first one? No fucking way.
No way.
Do we want to rate it, or we just want to move on to Fallen Kingdom?
And we should continue with the rating themes.
Yeah, let's do this out of 5 helicopters crashed into the Pteranodon enclosure.
Okay. I'm going to go Gentleman's 2. I just don't... There's no point to it. Really. Because you can just watch Jurassic Park. Like, there's nothing that this movie does to elevate that experience. So for me, it's a 2.
Yeah. John, what about you?
I'm kind of at a crossroads here because, like I said, I think that it does have
Always
fun.
coming to fucking crossroads.
It's a little over long, and I think that there are bad written characters and a poor plot, but I think that there are fun moments that carry it a little bit. So I think I was leaning between a 2 and a 3. I think I'm just gonna plop right in the middle of the 2.5.
Yeah, there was better dialogue in Jurassic Park 3 when the raptor went, Alan.
Yeah.
At least that was practical, bro.
Yeah, one thing that I meant to say about this movie, but it applies to all 3 of these, is also they really, really fucked up Chris Pratt's character because he is such a charming person who obviously when you see him in Guardians of the Galaxy is just so full of charisma and humor, and they were just like, okay, make you boring Harrison Ford copy action man who wears a vest and is super cool. I did hear a story though that apparently the prop maker who made Chris Pratt's like signature Owen Grady's signature knife, that knife ended up being made into like a bunch of toys and props and things, and the guy ended up like retiring off the money he made just for like designing that prop.
That's cool.
So yeah, some people are very happy with Jurassic World, but this movie also was like the highest grossing movie of all time for a while, wasn't it?
It was up there towards the top of the list for sure.
Yeah, and I remember being like, that's dumb.
It was nostalgia, like Randy was talking about earlier, and
hype.
Yeah,
A ton of hype after more than 20 years.
Yeah, it's just like, how do you fuck up
and we just don't
Chris
get
Pratt
dinosaur
movie?
movies.
Yeah.
Those dinosaurs, man.
You know what I mean?
What's your rating?
My rating is also going to be, I think, a 2.5 for this one. 2.5 for the Dino movie.
Yeah, I would feel okay giving it a 3, but that would be if I were considering it out of context completely. But the movie can exist out of context, and it actually makes effort to exist in context, and it fails at that, so I'd have to knock it down to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fair. All right, cool. So let's talk about Fallen Kingdom. They got to go back because the dinosaurs are about to explode.
Yeah, and Dino's about to go boom, and this could have been its own whole movie. And I think this is probably the best part of the movie is because there's some pretty like harrowing dinosaurs being eaten by lava, being burned by lava, and like the long necks going
hella sad.
Yeah, it's very sad, and that's why I'm like, okay, there's some emotion in this part of the movie. It is dumb that they're like, it's just like these people need to stop going back to islands with dinosaurs. It doesn't fucking matter at this point. Just listen to Ian Malcolm when he's like, let the dinosaurs die. Like, just fucking listen to the guy.
So what do you think? Where do you stand on that debate? Should they let them die, or should they go try to save them and put them on a different island, which is what we were led to believe?
That's the one interesting aspect that I think they bring into this trilogy that's also kind of a holdover from what they were talking about a little bit in the previous trilogy is the debate of, now that we've created dinosaurs and they're living in our world,
what are their rights?
Are they considered animals? Are they considered living creatures like everything else?
Are they
an endangered species? What do we do about them? And that's a question that I thought was going to get tackled more in Dominion, and we'll talk about that. But in this, I think that they do try to kind of handle that a little bit.
It's really once they get back to the old auction, the grand old opera.
That's where my favorite part of the movie is.
I love this.
That's
scene
where it
when
jumps the
she's
shark
like,
for me.
Yeah, when they're like getting melted and that dinosaur's about to get him. I was like, oh my god, who wrote this and who let her act that way?
For me,
how are we getting up that ladder? Yeah. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
yeah, for me that's where it jumps the shark.
It's back at the house.
Yeah, back at the house.
But
Yeah,
again,
that
it's
was
the
me too.
same. It's the same plot from Lost World, just instead of
through the city of San Diego.
yeah, instead of the 5 minutes of T-Rex, we get an extended. Yeah, and I was
The
like, oh, and then we
Indoraptor.
get
The
this
Indoraptor, yeah.
other character. Do we ever get mentioned of him before working with Hammond, or
No.
this is just an
Total
add-on
retcon. Total
just for
retcon.
that, right?
Yep.
And then we get his weird granddaughter, but then they change in the third one.
Yeah, they retcon that as well, yeah.
Where now she's a clone of his daughter, but really
Feels very
she's
much
not.
like the new Star Wars trilogy where they can't even maintain consistency within their 3 films. This one was directed by J.A. Bayona, not by Colin Trevorrow.
But Trevorrow wrote it.
Yeah, Trevorrow wrote it, so there should still be internal consistency. But the things that I like about this movie come from J.A. Bayona because his background is in movies like the horror film The Orphanage, which is highly regarded. He did the 2012 film The Impossible, the one about the tsunami. He did a Monster Calls, and I thought that the horror elements in this, as opposed to the first one, were great. Because this one treats it like a fucking haunted house movie, which doesn't make sense for Jurassic Park. But I'm removing this from like, okay, I already know this movie sucks, and I already know the plot is stupid. Like, auctioning dinosaurs is a fucking terrible, dumb idea. Like I already pointed out about the laser sight thing. Militarizing dinosaurs makes no goddamn sense in any reality. I do like that Toby Jones is in it, though, because I always like to see Toby Jones.
Julie, you dickless wonder.
Well, I think it's frustrating, too, that in the first one, they're like, let's make the Indominus Rex, which is a T-Rex mixed with a raptor. And then this one, they're like, let's make the Indoraptor, which is a raptor mixed with a T-Rex.
With a raptor mixed with a T-Rex mixed with a raptor.
It's a raptor mixed with an Indominus Rex. Like, it's like two raptors mixed with a T-Rex.
It's a snake eating its own tail.
I'm an Indominus Rex twice removed. But but yeah, that's the only thing that I like about this movie is the haunted house elements. Like, there are some cool, creepy, like the Indominus, and it's very, again, personified in this. It even winks at the camera at one point when it tricks the guy into thinking that it's asleep. It's like, a little wink at the camera.
Wiggle tail.
But I do like it's like Freddy Krueger claws like coming in to get the girl at night, and all that's cool. It's just the plot of it is so, and they lean into some of the dumbest elements of this, like the little clone girl who makes the absolute dumb, like the dumbest decision ever at the end, where she's like, they're alive like me, I'm gonna let all the dinosaurs out into the world. Who let her touch that button?
With her doing that, and then Owen and whatever Bryce Dallas Howard's name is, Claire,
yeah,
like releasing everything out. I'm like, what? You had to know, you're activists. Like, you caused this problem that we later have to deal with, and then they don't even really deal with it.
Yep. I don't know. I felt like I actually enjoyed this one a little bit more than the first one.
It just has more style, in my opinion. But
yeah, it does have a sense of style. It doesn't feel as like cold or corporate, but like it also presents a philosophical dilemma. I mean, it's not strong. Like, it's not a strong movie altogether. But like the first movie, I don't feel like it did that. But this one says like basically like you created some life, and now it's in jeopardy. Are you responsible for that life? Does it count as life? You know, it creates a lot of
the old
like,
Frankenstein question.
Yeah, like, and like that's cooler to me. Like, that's way cooler than the first one, which is just like, hey guys, look, rehash. Like,
the problem with that is that we have this like scene where they're calling people and they're trying to do something about it, but then literally day of those phone calls, the decision is made to not do anything about it, and then these people illegally are like, we're gonna steal them. It's like, so no decision. That debate was never actually settled in any way. No, people just stole dinosaurs off the island.
Yeah. So I feel like that was kind of cool. I did like that. It felt like it had like a horror element to it. Like that was fun. That was a little refreshing. There was definitely some goofy BS in there too. Like very cheeky with the Indoraptor, kind of like the little claw thing. I thought that was like, it's cool, but like that's so not Jurassic Park.
It's not. Yeah,
it's completely. At this point, I feel like it has now become a very different franchise. It's so far from the original. So
yeah, totally
agree. How do you feel about it, John?
I am on record previously not liking this movie. Still not a big fan of it. There are still things where, like, there was up to a certain point I thought I was at least going to have a good time with it, and then, like I said, it jumps the shark once you get into the house. There's a lot of moments there that really made me say, what the fuck are you even making me watch? And then there's some moments that help to redeem it. Like I said, I do enjoy some of, like, the sneaking around in the dark and all that shit. That stuff's fine, but, like, this whole plot about a clone and all this shit, just, it doesn't work.
I like that they were trying to make that parallel of like, okay, well, obviously, one, I like that they're trying to explore if this technology to clone dinosaurs exists.
Why not?
When are we going to get to cloning humans? Not necessarily a theme that I think we needed explored in a Jurassic Park movie, but an interesting theme. And then also the idea of like paralleling. Okay, well, it's easy to say that the dinosaurs they don't count, but once it's a human who's been cloned, does she count? Which they then retcon in the next movie, so it doesn't really matter that much. But
she was a clone who was birthed,
which doesn't make any. I mean, it makes sense, but like
spoilers. Sorry,
it's stupid. But yeah, I mean, if you came to the show, you already know there's spoilers for all the shit we're going to talk about. But yeah, I mean, really, for me, this isn't like I'm saying I like this movie more in comparison to all the rest of the movies, but I definitely like it more than Jurassic World just because it has more style, and both bore me to death while I'm watching them. but this one has some flair to it, like in certain parts where me as a horror fan, I get some of that little part of my brain scratched. That Jurassic World didn't do any of that for me. So I'm like, okay, well, comparing those two movies, this one is the more enjoyable one for me. But I think plot wise, script wise, and everything, this is just a markedly even worse movie than Jurassic World is. I think Jurassic World at least kind of holds together as a very basic plot, and even though it is just moments strung together, it kind
This
of
is more moments strung
yeah,
together.
this is more just like, what if this scary thing happened, and then what if this cool thing happened, and then
What if there was another guy?
And what if
Yeah.
none of it made sense?
yeah,
Let's
pretty
do it.
much.
What if we just let Colin Trevorrow literally shove every idea he's ever had into one film and see if it
I feel like
sticks?
there was even kind of like religious undertones to it.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
there was like
And
with
I
the
was like,
cloning.
what?
Yeah.
With the dinosaur? Is that
With the dinosaurs, isn't that like
that Jesus Rex?
Isn't that counterintuitive?
But
Jesusaurus
did we do we want to rate Fallen Kingdom?
let's do it.
Out of 5
Piles of shit.
okay.
Big piles of shit.
Big piles of shit. Okay.
I think I'm still gonna stick with a 2. Like you said, there's parts of it that do more for the horror side of me than the other one does, and at least it was kind of trying to do its own thing. Still, parts of it are a remake of Lost World, so I'll stick with a 2 piles of shit out of 5 piles of shit.
I'm gonna go with the 2 piles of shit as well. It's just everything about the movie aside from just the little flair is worse for me.
I'm also on a 2 here, which I know is lower than my Jurassic World score, but just like I said, as a movie, I would rate this lower in terms of quality of movie. But if I'm going to choose one of these to put on, it's probably going to be Fallen Kingdom.
Break out the enjoyment scale.
Yeah.
Which is a 2.5.
Yeah, which would just be a 2.5, and Jurassic World would be like a 1, because that movie is so boring.
I think I would give this now that is 2.5 big piles of shit. I did enjoy it more than the first one. It is not. I acknowledge that it is not better, but it did some things that I think most movies should do. That most even pieces of art should do, and like try to evoke some questions, try to evoke some thoughts, some put some wrinkles in your brain. But, still not great. So it's down there at a 2.5 for me.
But it set us up so perfectly
For a movie that it almost ditched the entire concept of.
Yeah, I'm like, I could not believe it when I started watching this movie and realized that it was not going to be at all about what the previous movie set it up to be, which is a world where humans are sharing the turf with the dinosaurs, which we get a little bit of that toward the beginning of the movie. A lot of it gets recapped in like a news broadcast at the beginning of this movie. But again, spoilers for Dominion. If you haven't seen Jurassic World Dominion, we're talking about the new one.
Yes, again, starring Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, B.D. Wong. Who else we got? Tim Cook.
Yeah, Tim Cook.
Dude, come on. You gotta be
Another guy from Amazing Spider-Man. He played Richard Parker.
Oh.
He played Peter's dad.
Yeah, dude from Archive 81.
Oh yeah.
So we've got
Mamadou Afi,
we've got
I think.
Sam Neill,
Jeff Goldblum.
There we go.
Laura Dern.
Yeah, the
little
whole
British
gang's
girl.
back. And this one is about them rescuing their now daughter, the clone from Fallen Kingdom,
clone who's not actually a clone.
who's on an island that's very Apple, Google ran.
Yeah, and they did that obviously very intentionally.
He looks like Tim Cook.
Yeah, Trevorrow even said, I saw a video of him and thought it was Tim Cook and just scrolled past it because I was like, don't give a shit. But like, I thought it was Tim Cook and then didn't realize until I was watching this movie that I had seen like a clip on Twitter of this. But yeah, very much trying to be like Tim Cook, Apple CEO, but with
A dark side.
locusts. I don't know if you guys realize, but he is supposed to be the character from Jurassic Park 1 who sits down with Nedry in the beginning.
Yeah,
He's the one that gives him that's
Dodgson.
Dodson here. Dodson.
Like, is that?
I knew the last name was the same, but I was like, is that actually him?
And I was like, is
So it's
that
not the same actor because the original actor got arrested on like some prison charge. Like he's in prison for like some sexual something charges.
With
or
a
something.
dinosaur?
With the dinosaur, yeah. He fucked a T-Rex.
But it was a clone.
So does it
So it doesn't count.
Yeah, so different
Wow,
actor, but it's
that's-
supposed to be the same character, which is
Clone
why
rights,
later
okay?
in the
Clone
movie you get the
rights.
very inexplicable. He still has the Barbasol can on his
Okay.
trophy
Yeah,
stand,
we're
which
gonna
makes
talk
no
about that.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're trying to get little clone girl off the island because they're trying to protect her in the woods away from everybody because they don't want people to find out that she's a clone and that she's part of this whole thing. So
And they kidnap a baby velociraptor who's Blue's baby, who she was able to.
which as far as I could tell was a practical raptor for most of the time.
Sometimes, not when it was running, I don't think.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like when it's actually just like standing there, it looked like it was a practical raptor. I think I saw some.
Yeah, so then that's another thing they're like explained away. Oh, well, we spliced in whatever worm DNA so she could produce.
And it was
by
like
herself.
it was a frog. It was a tree frog.
And I was just like, oh, okay, so you guys just
go ahead.
splice in whatever you want.
I thought this movie was by far the fucking worst of the three of them.
You can go and lead off, Randy.
Oh, sure. I went in with the bar low because I was like, okay, you know what? I just want to see some dinosaurs like at each other and some people getting chomped. Like, that's all I want from this movie. I did get that. I did enjoy that, but it was like so interfered with all of the other crap. Mostly a bunch of useless nostalgia grabs again, like the Barbasol can. Like, who kept that? That's only important to fans. Like, no one saw that in the movie. It was like,
he lost it in the mud, and they established that those embryos wouldn't survive past like a certain number of days. I think, like in the Barbasol can. So what the and why would he be like, oh yes, my failed plan that ruined Jurassic Park and didn't work out for me. I'm going to keep that Barbasol can as a trophy
with me as I'm running away. Like, this
and
is
look at it like
important.
longingly and importantly at this moment, like it means anything to anything else that's
Strictly
happening.
for fans.
Yeah.
That Barbasol and that scene from the original, we do get the return of the fucking
the Dilophosaurus.
We get like 3 of them now
Which,
this time.
I was like, that's cool because we haven't seen those, and those things are scary because they just spit at you.
Yeah, they
But they literally recreate that scene where he sees the one and then he's running and you get the camera behind him and then he gets in and he thinks he's cool and he looks and it's there. It's the exact same scene as was with Nedry, but with Dodson.
Yeah.
Dodson.
So,
we got
okay,
Dodson.
keep going, Randy.
Okay, yeah. So the other thing is Dodgson. That dude dies in the second book, like on the new island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he dies horribly, and cool. I guess now he's running the new dinosaur world, and that was never his character's interest, but that's cool. Also, the raptor. Okay, I hate how they like gave the raptors like all these round, cute features, like strictly a marketing feature. They're not even part of this movie anymore, and they've always been like one of the parallels to like.
I don't like that. Like every time Blue is on screen, it's like, and then like the baby raptors, like the big ass eyes, and they're all super colorful. And then when they come up, you're supposed to feel threatened because Chris Pratt's always like, "Don't fuck with them, don't fuck with them." But it's like, no, I know as soon as you put your hand up that nothing's gonna happen.
Like there's no risk.
Yeah, there's no risk. Like the Blue is gonna listen to you, so there's no like scary raptors in the movie.
They have declawed the raptors essentially, or just removed them from the movie because they were like there in the beginning and like, Chris Pratt, my baby is gone, and then they're back. Oh, thank you, Chris Pratt. Like,
well, then we get the feathered one. Isn't that a raptor of some sort?
Pyroraptor,
yeah.
Swimming apparently, but
swimming in ice cold water.
Yeah. Even them falling in, Chris Pratt was like,
It's
and I
a
was like, dude, that would be
cold-blooded
so
animal too.
Yeah, he would have been dead.
Yeah,
he would have died.
Hypothermia at least, and they weren't drenched when they got it. Anyway. So the other thing that's interesting to me, because I just finished reading The Lost World, like one of the things that they learn in that is the reason that the dinosaurs, when they're left to themselves on that new island, they're just dying off, is because they were a first generation of clones, and dinosaurs and animals in general like learn behavior through observation. So the dinosaurs are just dying off at young ages, juvenile ages, because they had no previous example of parenting. So when they have their babies, like they're all just eating each other for no reason, like raptors eating each other.
That sounds tight.
Yeah, it's the book is sick, but like, there's no paternal knowledge, there's no paternal instinct, and that's something you can't clone. That was part of the thing, and like now in this movie, and also raptors were like packed too, so like. In this movie, you have Blue, who's like raising a baby very like maternally, like my baby's gone. Like,
when did Chris Pratt teach her motherly instincts and skills?
Yeah, who taught that? Like that was never. So it was just kind of like lazily put in there for the sake of like toys and children. I'm sure, like good for everyone who got to enjoy that. I'm a jaded
who's over
old
here
man.
standing Blue though? Like who's in the audience? Like if Blue wasn't in this movie, who would be like, "Where the fuck's Blue?"
Yeah, like
who cares that much?
Blue's
but
not even in the movie. So yeah, I call BS on that. Like,
well, and it's not needed for the plot of the movie because they still have to go to the island to get their daughter.
Yeah, just like a double armor, I guess. And the other thing is, like. What was the Giganta something Saurus that was like?
Yeah,
like they had to say it exactly.
The biggest The biggest
carnivore
The biggest-
that
yeah.
walked
Biggest
on
land
land.
carnivore to ever exist.
another
Like,
apex predator.
Just to let the audience know, like, this one's even big. This one's bigger. Or there's nothing bigger.
The
than
T-Rex
this.
is gonna need a bunch of help to fight this one.
Yeah.
Because that T-Rex is 28 years old.
Did you guys notice, and I was telling John about this the other night, that toward the end, the T-Rex is like walking through their quad, and there's
And
that
goes in the
circle
circle.
statue, and then
Yeah.
it's all...
yes.
And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Dude, I
Miss-
was dying.
Mrs. Jigsaw was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" She's like, "We get it. You made the logo." I was like, "We stand a beautiful."
It's like,
I
why
was
do
like,
we,
fuck
also,
yeah.
why do we still need T-Rex at this point? Like, it hasn't been the...
Because they need him to stand in the center of the frame and roar.
And they need
Yeah.
the comparison. T-Rex is your point of reference for the new Giganta, whatever, and the... I forgot the
Freddy
name.
Krueger thing.
I forgot the name of that one, but yeah.
Featherman.
They
Which
quit
was
making
one
the
of...
T-Rex scary, right? The first one is terrifying, and sure,
Yeah.
he does come and save the day with the raptors toward the
Then
end.
they
but then in
Sony-fied
this
it and
one,
made him like an anti-hero.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
every time now, and the rest of the franchise really, maybe not two.
It always
but the rest
comes
of them,
in to
it's
like
always
save them
yeah.
from the other big dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like, it's the hero because it was on the front cover and it was super scary
T-Rex
in the
will
first
save
one.
us. The Raptors will save us, except for these evil Raptors because they're corporate. And like,
The corporate
Yeah.
raptors.
Well,
those
and
are
then-
those
Ties
some
on.
real.
Really, almost the entire
briefcases.
almost the entire movie up until near the very end
Played by Christian
is
Bale.
two entirely different movies. It's we cut back and forth between following our original friends, who, I mean, it's nice to see them together. It's cute, it's sweet, but everything they have to say is just a riff on something that they said in a previous movie. They're all like just poking fun at the fact that like, oh, isn't it crazy that this dude trains raptors? Like, and then they finally toward the end have to bring these two groups together after we've been following really two separate movies for this entire time. And then they get together and all it is just like hero shots of them together. Like, we're supposed to be impressed. Like, look, and she wore her shirt the same way as she did in the other movie. And Grant and Gravy are both doing the thing. They're doing the thing now. It's just, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
You know what I thought was a missed opportunity for them to tie in World is, or Lost World, I guess, is I really thought the pilot was going to be Ian's daughter.
Well, since Jurassic World, they seem to have kind of been ignoring that Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 even happened.
Oh.
So World is kind of going on the pretense that only Jurassic Park happened. Because whenever they go back and say, like, it's been this many years since the Jurassic Park incident, nobody ever talks about the other two
Site
times
B and all
people
that
went-
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and,
But
Site-
yeah,
and
okay.
all that stuff. They act like it doesn't exist.
I really thought because she, I don't know, they introduced her character. She seems like she's important, and when they got there, I was expecting her to
Well,
be like,
she
hey,
is.
Dad.
She's well written, and the acting in hers,
Yep.
and she's good, which makes her feel so wasted throughout the entire movie. I was like, I would just watch a Jurassic Park
what I'm
movie
saying.
about her.
she was the best
Yeah.
part of that movie to me.
Yeah,
Yeah. To touch back on what you were saying about how like it just felt like two separate movies, it totally does. And when they try to bring them together, rather than it being like a melding and a tying together of these two plot lines, it's like a fucking car crash.
Yeah,
they literally just
crash into
smash
each other
everything,
and like run up and like, hey, what's up?
And then let's try to mix these together. It's like a really bad implementation of like when Scooby-Doo would fucking mash up with another franchise.
With the
oh, hey, it's the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah. Just a really terrible implementation of that. It doesn't work. Both of the storylines aren't super interesting. Some of them are just plain out poorly acted. The little girl, I don't know what her name is, but she is bad
Yeah,
in this.
she
She
was
was
bad.
better
Her name
in
is,
the
like,
other
Maisie
one.
or something. But
Yeah.
But either way, she's not very good. And then
and she gets the closing. I guess her clone or whatever,
Yeah.
her original version gets the closing like monologue of the movie, which I was like, really? This is supposed to be like the end of the Jurassic franchise? Yeah, right.
man,
But
the continuity is bad. The lines themselves, the way they're written, are bad. Some of the delivery of them is bad.
B.D.
It's just-
Wong's hair is terrible.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is that it felt
Wig.
like every scene went on for like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue too long. Like there'd be a scene in the plane where Chris Pratt and the pilot are talking to each other, and then for whatever reason the last line of dialogue has to be Chris Pratt's, even though he's basically just reiterating what the pilot said. And they could have ended the scene 5-10 seconds
Because
earlier.
everybody's got to have some quippy fucking thing. There's no natural humor coming out of the situation or natural humor coming out of how these characters interact. It's everybody's got to have a line, you know. They got to be. It's got to be Ian Malcolm and him walking down a tunnel and like quipping back and forth to each other about like, oh yeah, well I once had a dog that humped my leg until I had sores or whatever the fuck he says.
Saurus.
Yeah. And it's just And then, I mean, really, and everybody's biggest complaint that I've seen about this movie has been like, when did Colin Trevorrow think, in a million years, when did he think it was going to be a good time to shove in a whole plot about locusts and controlling the food supply around the country and all this stuff?
That, and then it does almost nothing.
Doesn't make
he
any
just
sense.
starts them on fire and then it's done. Like, which
Game
was
over,
kind of
man.
a cool scene when they're all raining down on fire. But now we have giant bugs. What the fuck are we doing? It started out, it was dinosaurs, then it's dinosaurs and human clones. Now it's dinosaurs, human clones, and giant locusts. Why have we strayed so far from God's light here?
If you could do dinosaurs and you can do people, give me a person dinosaur.
That was originally
hybrids.
that was originally the concept for Jurassic World, like for the sequel to Jurassic Park 3, was that they were going to do human dinosaur hybrids. And now that I've seen what they did with the 3 of these movies, fuck it, give it to me. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Barney.
We're
already there.
Yeah, true.
And that's practical.
I mean, I do think that
so realistic, man.
I think that, like I said, the locust plot line completely unnecessary.
It's the MacGuffin to get Sadler and Grant there.
Yeah, and Sadler and Grant, we've already established through the previous set of movies here that they are not destined to be together. And then at the end, it's just like, well, I'm going to go with you.
It feels like when Chewie got his medal at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where it's like, nobody needed that except you wanted the fans to go, oh, they're finally together. Oh, Chewie finally got his medal. And it's like, but it does nothing for their character arcs across all of these movies. Because she was already married, and they literally write that off with like, oh, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
That's literally the line that she uses to like, oh, it didn't work out. Just so that they can free them up to be together or whatever.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
So, now that I know it didn't work out, probably in the next 20 minutes here, we're gonna make out.
Yeah.
What?
It's just shoehorning in romance plot lines. Like, because they did it with Owen and Claire, they needed to do it here too.
I love that they didn't redo it again.
Oh my god! I was at the beginning. They kind of addressed it a little bit, and she like won't really. They're like, "Oh, that weird situation with Owen," and I'm like, "Please don't tell me you guys have reset back to us having to do this again." And luckily, they don't. But
and then we ditched those characters.
Yeah, and it was the annoying kid from
Smith.
Fallen Kingdom, and then
that's Will Smith's kid.
What's his name? I forget his full name, but something Smith. Yeah, was there anything that you guys enjoyed about this movie? The thing that I said that I liked was, I think some of the dinosaur stuff is cool. I think when Bryce Dallas Howard is like hiding from the Freddy Krueger dinosaur and she's like under the water, that was pretty cool. Even though they kind of already did that in Jurassic World with the kids underwater and they're hiding from the Indominus. But I liked that. It was neat, sneaking through the jungle.
I like seeing dinosaurs in different environments. That was kind of cool.
I like
here's
seeing
in the desert. Here's in the ice.
I loved all the stuff in the beginning where they showed the dinosaurs interacting with people, like the Mosasaurus coming out of the water and like sinking the crab fishing vessel or whatever. When just that small moment of the one dinosaur wandering through the work site, and they have to like show them, which frustrates me because the flare thing is obviously like the biggest, like, this is not a real thing about dinosaurs. T-Rexes had better vision than hawks. They had excellent vision and smell, so the whole flare thing has been thoroughly debunked, but they insist on carrying it over into the movies. And now it's not just the T-Rex. Every dinosaur is now like a zombie, where it's like, have a big fire or a flare, and it'll distract the zombies.
Oh, your nostalgia. Let me follow that.
They do it so many times in this movie, too. Like,
and then literally throw it into a dinosaur's mouth and turn it into a fire-breathing dragon.
Yeah.
For like a solid minute.
When Ian Malcolm started lighting the thing and doing the thing, I was like, oh my god, are we doing another member berry? We're doing another member berry.
This was stuff we liked.
I know. It's just hard. It's hard to get in that conversation without devolving into...
Yeah.
I'm going to say this dripping with sarcasm. I really liked how all of the dinosaurs are magically trained to do cool shit, even though it's been like a couple of years, and there's no way there was enough time to basically train them to be like anti-aircraft attack dinosaurs. Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Apple's crazy.
Like, here's the deal. Like, this is an entire series that is predicated on bullshit science, but for the most part, there's a lot of it that you could totally like suspend your disbelief on. This has gotten to the point where none of it makes any sense anymore.
Yeah. It's all loosey-goosey.
I enjoyed the variety of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I like the post-Dimetrodons that were like in the caves.
That part was pretty cool.
I was like, old-time favorite dinosaur. I'm happy to see it on the screen.
We get feathered dinosaurs, which is supposed to be more accurate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pyroraptor and Freddy Krueger
Freddy Krueger the dinosaur.
Those are supposed to have feathers.
Freddy Kruegersaurus.
I am trying to think of what else I liked. I think the pilot character was probably the best part of the movie.
So good we remembered her name.
Well, but
Launchpad McQuack.
Yeah. Yeah. From DuckTales. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that,
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss
that
for anything
was
else that I really liked.
loaded as hell, and I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's fair. So we want to try to rate this one then?
I've got mine. Well, let's
Out of-
rate it. Yeah, rate it
Out
out
of five, five Freddy Kruegersauruses.
Yeah.
I will say, I think 2. For me, they're all just kind of the same. Like, there's different parts of them that I like and I don't like. And again, purely for nostalgia, I guess, it was cool to have the original 3 back
Yeah.
in this movie. But just, they're all remakes of their counterparts. And so for me, it's just a 2 as well.
This is a 1 for me.
Mhm.
It is an even less entertaining, even less well put together film than the previous 2 before it, and I don't know how they fucking did it.
Especially since 2 of these movies are by the same director and all 3 are written by the same person. It kind of blows my mind that it wasn't like, at least with Star Wars, it was a director doing 2 of them and then one guy coming in the middle and saying fuck you and screwing the whole thing up. But yeah, for me it's a 1.5 Freddy Kruegersauruses. I think the half star just comes from the Freddy Kruegersaurus, and that cave scene was cool, and outside of that I liked the dinosaurs with feathers, and that's it.
I think I still give it a 2.5. I liked it better than the first one. I probably liked it just as much as the second one. There was a lot that I disliked about it being so bloated, and also some of like the casting felt really weird too. Like, what was like Archive 81 guys like?
And then there's like a weird twist with his character at the end where it's like, oh, you were behind this thing the whole time,
Yeah,
but
and
then
it
it's
felt
like
very
he was
underplayed.
secretly a good guy, but he was always a good guy. It was very confusing.
And like the other
I am
thing was,
confusion.
like, I feel like this movie, particularly this one out of the 3, was just like scared to have a bad guy, and like the bad guy was just like not formidable in any sense. As
You don't even feel like Tim Cook should be killed as brutally as you assume he's killed, because by the time you get there, it's like they didn't really build him up as a villain. He's just a kind of an awkward CEO guy who's like,
exactly.
I thought it was
the
a good idea. It
world's-
turns out it's a bad idea.
The world's worst line reads ever.
Yeah, and I was not invested in any of the characters, not even the ones that I loved from the original trilogies. But like, yeah, this movie just fell on its face. I enjoyed it solely for the junk food factor of it. Like,
The spectacle.
yeah, cheap gratification. Shove it down my gullet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. That's going to wrap it up for our discussion on not only the Jurassic Park franchise, but on the Jurassic World franchise.
If you like any of these Jurassic World movies, tell us why, and we'll tell you why you're wrong. Or I guess we've told you, been told why you're wrong for the last like 15 minutes or whatever. But I'd like to be the first to reach out a big thank you, sir, for joining us for that discussion.
Thank you, sir.
Sure,
yes, it's going to be a
for
wrap on a Randy wrap.
A Randy rap.
That was awesome. Brought some good points. I'm glad. See, I mentioned, I was like, I don't know how he feels about the Jurassic World movies. So when I was like, oh, we already did Jurassic Park, but we're gonna do Jurassic World, I was like, he either loves these movies and it's gonna be us ragging on them while he's like, or he's gonna be on the same page as us. And luckily, we were all like pretty much exactly on the same page about all 3 of these movies. So
Yeah,
They're slightly under middling.
yeah.
whelmed.
I'm very whelmed.
Well, cool.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And
sure.
We'll see you next time. Let us know when you want to come back.
Yes,
Start studying that trivia.
I will. I'll get on that trivia and I'll keep my eye on.
Anything that
what's
you're
coming out.
working on that you want to share with the people?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I am working on a video game called Volunteer the Ascension, and I'm audio director for it, so I'm going to do like a crap ton of sound effects. And it's a 2D platformer game. It's a Metroidvania. You just go through and slash and shoot things. And it's high fantasy. It's a lot of fun. It's all hand-drawn, too, so it looks really good.
Ooh, that sounds dope.
Yeah, it's
sounds
going to be
tight.
awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to check it out.
When should we expect that?
I think there's a demo that's supposed to be done here in a couple of months, probably like around early fall. And then after that, it's all just as quickly as everyone can work and as well as funding can carry the project.
Cool. That sounds tight. Yeah, let us know when it's out, and then we'll give another shout out on the show.
Yeah. I'll share. I will share the trailer when it's out.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for
Awesome.
joining us. John, Tom, thanks.
Thanks so much, Randy. Really appreciate having you.
Fun.
Thanks a million.
You had
bud.
fun, right?
Look right at the camera and tell everybody you had fun and you're safe.
We'll go ahead and get started with our final cut.
Yay.
What do you know? I asked for final cut, and I got it!
Welcome to Final Cut. We are talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5 and Stranger Things Season 4, Episode 4. We want to start with Obi?
Yeah, let's get it done.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
so
knock 'em out.
this one we see Obi and crew in a bunker, very similar to, the second movie in the sequel trilogy? All right?
Yeah.
They do that
Yeah.
same fucking
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, where they're on the salt planet.
Yep. So I was like, all right, whatever. But this one reminded me of what you said earlier about because they're in the dome, that it feels very tight.
Yeah.
And so everything had like a wall just so that you could feel like you're enclosed in it. So
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot in this one in particular. But basically what's happening is the third sister tracked Obi-Wan to this planet, and now she goes after him. And then Vader waits until she has him to then go after him.
Yeah, it's still a little bit confusing, character motivation wise, but we do get some answers to some things we've been wondering about. One of the big things is
One that we predicted, right?
Yeah, one was Reva's character motivation. We had predicted that she was one of the Padawans from the opening scene, one of the younglings. We were correct on that. That reveal I think we all kind of saw coming, and it feels like it's been like that should have been revealed maybe a little bit sooner, but we get that finally in the second to last episode. The other thing that we were wondering about was, hey, you brought in Hayden Christensen, are you going to use him any more than we've seen him? And the answer is yes, in a episode extending flashback of episode we get him both as episode 2 Anakin fighting with Obi-Wan in like a training lightsaber duel, and then we also get him as episode 3 Anakin storming during Order 66 into the temple, so we get kind of a revisiting of that. I know a lot of people were complaining online that they didn't look like they de-aged Hayden Christensen at all for his part in this like duel thing.
I think they just put him in makeup.
I think he looked fine.
Yeah, I'm like, he still looks like hardly any older than he did 20 years ago when he filmed those movies. And I think it's fine that like people are going to complain either way. They complain about de-aging the characters like they did with pretty much anybody who's supposed to be younger that they've de-aged. They even did a little bit with Jimmy Schmitz earlier in the season. But I was totally fine with them not de-aging him. It wasn't super distracting to me, especially since it's a lot of fighting. So it's a lot of just like quick cuts and moving around.
And it's a fun duel. It
mirrors a lot of the same stuff that they're going to be doing when they fight on Mustafar. So it was a cool little look into what's to come, but also it was a nice parallel throughout the story where each time they get to a beat where one of them learns a lesson during the duel, that reflects on the rest of the story. And I thought I was like, oh, this is actually constructed like an interesting back and forth story between this flashback and what's happening. And you can see Vader using his knowledge of how Obi-Wan thinks to try to trap him on this thing by saying he's going to want to give himself up before he lets my minions come after all these people. And Obi-Wan is using his like methods of thinking how Anakin thinks to try to, I guess, get him to only take him. Like, and I don't know, I'm kind of confused as to what Obi-Wan's plan is at this point. Like, does he think that he's going to take on Vader because he says there are other ways besides using a lightsaber to take on Vader? And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Then at one point they're in a room and they're trying to get a top hatch open. They can't do it, so then they let them attack them, and then they go to a different room that also has the same top hatch problem. I was like, wait, how many rooms are there in this place? And then
it's just like a room, a long tunnel, and another room. Yeah.
And then there's like they're flying away, and then Vader stops them, but then it's like we're in a second ship.
Where did the second ship come from?
I was very confused by that.
What is going on? Yeah, it was flying behind it or what? So that was weird. But I was also like, if you're Vader, you've been hunting this guy for 10 years. You know where he's at because you tracked him here. Why are you not just going?
Yeah.
Why are you sending her to then
Well,
get
especially
him to
if,
stop?
as revealed by Vader, you knew all along that she was plotting to turn on you, then what's the point of sending her to do this whole thing if you just knew, youngling, that she was going to turn on you?
And then you bring back this character that none of us even give a shit about at all.
the Inquisitor.
Grand Inquisitor, yeah.
The only reason they brought him back is because canonically he's not supposed to be dead. Because he shows up in Rebels, which takes place after this. So people were complaining, like, why did you kill him? He's not canonically supposed to be dead. And they were like, don't worry. But that's the second character in this series that's been stabbed with a lightsaber and survived. And so the running joke... I think actually Raul Coley actually tweeted about this today, where he was like, oh, maybe we should have checked on Qui-Gon again after he got stabbed before we cremated him, just to make sure that, you know, he didn't have the will to survive that stab wound, because he's probably, his Force ghost is probably like, what the fuck? I'm not coming back. All these people are just...
Darth Maul survived.
Yeah, and he got his whole ass and balls chopped off.
And legs too.
So is he really living?
Yeah.
What about, how are you feeling about it?
I felt like this was better. I think that there's...
It just made, like he said, it made last episode feel like even more of a waste of our time.
Yeah, there's more to this, which I appreciated. I felt like Vader was more of an actual character and less of just like, here is imposing thing, you know?
And I like that we're seeing him as Anakin and as Vader and getting to see that there's a connection there. That's interesting, and I do think it adds depth to both of their characters to see that flashback stuff of when... Because we really don't see too much of that in the prequel trilogies of them being like brotherly and training together. We get some hints at it, and the Clone Wars is where that really got fleshed out, and I felt like it was nice to see a little bit more of that because it adds to those two characters. But yeah, and
I think the issue that we've run into where there were invisible walls that kept things very tight and contained felt awkward. Making actual real physical walls makes it feel claustrophobic, and it plays into that a little bit, which I liked much better by comparison. So this, as compared to the fire and all the bullshit that happened 2 episodes ago, I was much more into this. I think that the characters, just most of them had better dialogue and were better acted in this. Even Reva had some better lines in this than in any of the previous episodes.
Well, that's why I'm like, I wish that this reveal had happened with her character a little bit sooner,
because she would have been a cooler character.
Yeah, because I feel like she actually got a little bit short shrifted because she's now more interesting, and I did feel like some of her performance and writing was a little bit better now that we know what's going on with her character. But it sucks that we're only going to get one more episode with her, and then we even get a fake out with her death in this, and I'm like, really? Like, how many fake out deaths are we going to get in this season?
Well, the death that we got, I thought was pretty lackluster. I don't really care about that character, and I don't know how you guys feel. What's her name? Telly or something?
Yeah, because, I mean, really, she's only been a big player in 2 episodes, and we didn't really care much for the last episode. And they did a lot to make us kind of try to feel for this group that's part of the path or whatever, but it's like, we really don't feel for any of these characters, so I don't really know why when Wade gets blown up or when What's-Her-Face gets blown up in the thing, and they even try to make us kind of care for the loader droid and all that stuff, and it's like, we just really didn't get enough time with any of these characters. Like,
I felt more bad for the droid, and that he was like, I'm going to stop and die here to protect you.
Yeah.
I was like, that was cool of you, man. But when she died, I was like, I don't care.
But we've already seen that same beat happen with like K2SO in Rogue One, like where he stays behind and like sacrifices himself for the group, and so a lot of this did feel like, okay, we're getting a smaller scale Last Jedi, Empire's attacking the base, or even like tiny scale Hoth from Empire Strikes Back, and we're just getting like smaller scale everything. And that's why I do like that this episode did focus more on the character beats, on Reva's character, on Obi-Wan's character, and on Anakin's character, on Vader. And as long as the show is focusing on those 3 characters and especially Obi-Wan and Anakin, I think it's at its most interesting. And then the other stuff is where kind of the problems start to happen. What did you guys think of the Vader and Reva like face off at the end, where he's like force blocking her lightsaber and doing all that stuff?
I thought that shit was dope.
Yeah, I think they're doing a lot of stuff in this season to really show why Vader is supposed to be as scary as everybody like makes him out to be. Because really, in A New Hope, when he rages into the ship in the beginning and he just like strangles that one guy and he's like, "Where the fuck are the plans?" That's scary, and you don't know why, and you're like, whoa, Vader's scary, I don't know why, but this guy, and then he gets more character added to him as the movies go on, where it's like, oh, he's actually a person, and my name is Anakin, and blah, blah, blah.
This is him as just a rage monster.
Yeah, at his angriest, and it's really, really cool to see him just using like the full capacity of his power to like stop that ship, and and do the whole like...
But why not stop the second one?
Because Vader likes to just kind of gaze at things and plot internally.
He blew his too early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, blew his Watto. Yeah.
Premature force elation.
I always enjoy seeing Obi-Wan break out the lightsaber. It's cool to see him do a little bit of that. I think they're trying to tease us up to, obviously, there's going to be a lightsaber duel. How did you guys feel about where this episode left us off, where we're apparently going to be going back to Luke, and there's something happening with Luke, and potentially Vader might be going to Tatooine?
Well, I felt like they answered a question that we didn't need answered. how did Vader know about Luke and that being his son and everything, right? And it's because Obi-Wan left that little communication behind. That got left behind. And now we're going to get the answer
because
to
he just happened to hand it to a guy who just happened to drop it. Yeah.
And now we're going to get the answer to that, which I feel like we don't need the answer to that. Like, I don't need a specific, like, this is exactly why this happened. I just don't.
Because you can literally just, like, all that can be explained with, like, oh, either the Emperor told him or the Force.
Yeah.
Like, we really didn't need an explanation for that. And it feels like, I'm like, okay, now we're going back to Tatooine. Feels like that's kind of where we should have spent more time in the beginning or stayed. Like, it feels like we've taken a huge detour just to get back to where the show started.
The whole show is a detour. But it's, for the most part, aside from maybe the last episode, has been a pretty fun detour.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still a detour at its best, boldly on its face, but it's a fun detour.
Yeah, I've still been having a good time with the episodes. It just, I mean, I do think that they showed some stuff in this episode that they obviously were saving some of their budget for, like the flashbacks and things like that. But I'm very interested to see what they do with this finale. If, from what I've been seeing from pre-release stuff, it looks like we might go to Mustafar. That could just be part of the artwork that they've been showing with Obi-Wan and Anakin, if they're going to have a rematch there. If he goes to Tatooine, I kind of feel like that's defeats the entire purpose of why they brought Luke to Tatooine and had Obi-Wan guard him there, is that the idea was that he would never go back to Tatooine because it's like where his worst experiences were and he wouldn't think to look there. And so having him actually go there in this next episode potentially, I think, is putting even more pressure on, like, this doesn't belong in canon with the rest of everything else that's happened.
If they hit me with it, it's all a dream. You can just throw the whole show in the trash.
Well, predictions for the next episode, since it's going to be the final episode and this is our last time to make predictions. Do you think Qui-Gon's ghost is going to show up?
It better. If you don't bring the Liam Neeson, I'm gonna see my Neeson out. Vroom vroom Nissan.
I mean, what else is he doing? How many times can you get taken?
Yeah, it's true.
Three is the exact number.
Yeah. And that might be too many. Too many.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've been hinting at it, and he keeps like, master.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just do it.
Dashers.
But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this episode more than the previous episode. There were some heartfelt moments that got me a little bit teary-eyed, having some nostalgia for the prequels and that and all that. It did get me a little bit emotional, but
there's still just stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And especially the fact that he's supposed to look like Alec Guinness in less than 10 years from when this takes place. So, hello there.
That's harsh sand, apparently.
Yeah.
It's coarse.
Really wear you down.
It's irritating.
Yeah.
But Ewan did say that he doesn't want to stop playing Obi-Wan. He said, I think there's probably a few more adventures to be had before I turn into Alec Guinness. So he's already said that he is like gung-ho to come back and keep doing more.
Just don't bring back any of these other characters. Just have him do his own thing.
Yeah, they were talking about doing a Reva spinoff show, so
I don't think I'd be into that.
We don't need it. The character that we didn't really care about too much in the first place.
Any of it.
Just
to be honest,
give Taika his show. Let Taika do some shit that's not anything to do with the Skywalkers.
Yeah. Do the stories live action or whatever, the Star Wars Visions.
Yeah,
that
would be cool.
Something like that, or expand on some of those because some of those were fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, agreed. Well, do we want to talk about something that did make us very emotional and did impress us quite a bit?
Shit.
I do, and I think that maybe that's part of my grievances, I guess, with
your general grievances.
My general grievances with not only the last set of
duty.
movies we talked about, but also some of the show too, is because we are getting another show. I've been watching Mission Impossible movies that, for the most part, are really good, and so then watching these Jurassic movies, I'm like, there's such a gap.
Yeah.
But then same with, not as big, but I feel like Stranger Things, especially these last two episodes, especially this last one episode, were fire. And then having to watch Obi-Wan after that, I was like, all right.
Yeah. Well, do you want to give a quick rundown about what happens in this episode of Stranger Things?
Yep.
Dear Billy?
Dear Billy, yeah.
Spoilers.
So, we get... But I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
It's a pretty Max-centric episode.
Yes. Oh, God. And the whole time I was like, give her an Emmy now. Just give it to her. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Sadie Sinks?
Yeah, Sadie Sink. Yep.
Sadie Sink? Yeah. She was fantastic.
From Fear Street 1978.
Yeah.
Whatever the camp one was.
Right. So
10/31/78.
It's her realizing that she's about to get Vecnud, and so she's trying to stop it, and in the process kind of writing letters and saying goodbye to everybody and kind of trying to figure out her own self and what she's been dealing with since the loss of her brother.
Meanwhile, we have
parallel.
we have Robin and
we have no idea what's going on with Elle.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, Elle
She's
is
just
absent
gone.
for this episode.
Yeah, but in her place, the people that took her away to presumably give her powers back are with Jonathan, Mike, and Will trying to protect them.
And telling them they can't go to Hawkins and like get in the way of what's going on, which
Exactly.
of course is impetus for them to be like, we gotta the fuck out of here and go to Hawkins.
Right.
And then Robin and Nancy are meeting up with a different Rob.
Right, they're going to an asylum trying to figure out what's going on
With Victor Creel.
Creel, and this is our first glimpse at Robert Englund. Because I don't know if he's in the Vecna costume.
I doubt.
He's
no.
got to be doing the voice.
It's a different actor. It does.
Right?
Yeah. I really don't know at this
know.
point. I don't know where the show is going, which is a nice feeling where I'm like, I don't really know what they're setting up with Vecna and if he's gonna be the same as Robert Englund's character.
He's got the claw. He's got the voice. Like,
yeah.
I at least hope he's doing the voice. But then sometimes the body, I'm like, is that what is his name? Like Darce Montgomery, like Billy's.
Oh, Dacre Montgomery or
that
whatever
what it
his
is?
name is.
Yeah.
No, it's a different actor whose name I've seen, but I didn't want to look too much into it because I didn't want to spoil if he plays a different character that connects into all this. But and then on the side of all of that, we are continuing to follow Hopper as he's trying to escape from the the Russian prison camp.
That for me right now,
that's the most tacked on story.
Is the weakest storyline, and it's starting to get really tedious. And the whole time they were doing it, I was like, please just let them get him and come back.
When he got caught at the end by all the guys, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It was the one part of the episode where I was like, you got to be shitting me. We've been going on with this for way too long.
It's to give them something to do.
Well, and it's also to make it such a... they want... When he finally gets back to Hawkins, they want it to be like, we've been waiting all season for this reunion. And it's like, but I don't want to wait all season just to see him running around in the same location over and over again. I did like that he made a little bit of progress here, which made it especially feel shitty for him to have... We think just haven't reset to square one by getting caught. Did like seeing the Elvira poster in the background when he was hiding out there.
And the moment with the peanut butter was pretty good, though.
He is a badass, and I think that we sometimes forget that. And when he is on his shit, he's on his shit. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, get some.
And then Joyce and Murray are hanging out with this
Yuri,
dude.
right?
Yeah, Yuri, who's just constantly pulling pranks on them and talking about...
Yeah, the biggest prank of all, which is turning them over to the Russians.
Yeah, which I'm like, okay, they did want her. I kind of like that idea, but again, it's so tedious, and I'm just over it.
It's because everything else ties together so well and feels like it's really ramping toward something, and this all feels like a side story. Because the Nancy stuff, the Mike, Will, and Jonathan, or the Nancy and Robin, Mike, Will, and Jonathan, 11, all of that stuff feels like it's all tying into the Vecna story, and it's all tying into that same thing.
And they don't even know about Vecna yet, so they're dealing with other stuff.
Let's go Jonathan, Nancy, and then Max.
Yeah, save Max for last.
Yeah, so then this Jonathan story is they're trapped in this house, but then finally, like you were talking about,
he finally awakens.
Is called to action, yes, because they
I was so happy
to
see him like come out of his haze and like finally start being like, okay, let's get shit done, let's go, let's...
Right, and we get this kind of beautiful moment between Mike and Will, where they're like, hey, we're still best friends, I'm sorry. A lot of times you don't see this kind of reconcile of fights in shows.
It felt very mature, and
yeah.
it felt like a reflection of how much they're growing up, is that
And
they're able to sit down and have a mature conversation instead of having this animosity last for the entire season.
And it felt like a realistic conversation. And I was like,
absolutely.
This is really cool to see this side of things.
Yeah.
And
it's a reminder, too, in that conversation that I think you can forget at this point that Will has been through so much shit in these last couple seasons, like especially seasons 1 and 2, and he mentions in this conversation, he's like, hey, when I was going through shit, you guys were the ones that saved me. It wasn't all these other people, it wasn't this government group or whatever, it was you guys who saved me. And I'm like, good, remind us that like he has a big stake in this because he's been possessed by the Upside Down like multiple times now and like kidnapped into it, and like he obviously knows how serious this shit is. And I like seeing the kids really, really step into like taking action roles and everything. Instead of having things just happen to them, they're like, okay, now things are happening and we need to go find out what's going on. All of the kids feel like they're finally taking action as opposed to just letting the creepy shit happen to them and kind of dealing with it. And it's nice to see after all of
what happened in 3, right?
Yeah,
they start like, okay, this is going on, something's up with Billy, let's figure it out.
Yeah,
they're the fucking Mystery Incorporated.
Yeah. Speaking of good character moments, I thought that Lucas had some really good character moments from being such a what we thought was a piece of shit in like the previous episode, to have him come back in and like reunite with the friends, and then have that really hard like that conversation with Max right before she goes into the graveyard, where he's like, "Hey, I'm here. We're here. You have friends. Like,
Talk to us.
I don't need a letter. Talk to me." I was almost in tears at that point because I was like,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I want to get through this real quick. Yeah, so this part was I almost fucking shit myself because Jonathan calls Argyle and is like, "Bring us pizza and we're gonna escape. We're gonna escape in your van, right?" And then you think that he's at the door.
Put some pineapples on that za.
And then it's just fucking bah, 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 bah. And I was like, "Oh shit!"
yeah, and suddenly we're in this like long
Unexpected,
take
yeah.
gunfight like through the house. And
Yeah,
we
which
got
was tight.
we got FBI agent John Thick like pa pa pa.
Yeah, I'm John Thick.
And he was a badass. I was like,
Yeah, I was like, good for this guy. He was like, when I shoot, you run.
And I thought it was going to be another write-off character, and I was really glad that they didn't get just captured. So that was cool. That scene was very intense, and I thought was done very well.
So they escape, and they're supposed, we assume, on their way to Hawkins.
Well, if that guy lets him, but who knows, because he's shot, so we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. All right, so then Nancy and Robin, they're going to the
They
silent
disguise themselves as
grad
hot
students.
milfs.
Yeah.
Well, and Steve obviously he puts up a fight about this because he's like, I should be the one who's going with you and not Robin. And then Robin ends up saving the day by showing that she's capable of like being this character that they've made up. And just really digs in about how like, and also like folds in kind of like how she's actually feeling into this
That's
acting,
what they say to do
which
if you're
makes
lying.
it feel more
Yeah.
realistic.
Yeah.
It's
Throw in
very,
some truth with your lies.
it's fantastic.
Well, because you don't know where she's going with that whole like shouty speech at first. You think she's gonna fuck the whole thing by being honest about like how she feels about the whole thing, and then she pivots it and turns it into being like, and that's why I wanted to meet you and be here and like learn from you and all this stuff. And I was like, ooh, smart.
And then it still fucks it up at the end.
Hey, but they get there.
But we do. We get to see this flashback with Robert Englund's character, Victor Creel, as a young man, which is one of the dudes from Ozark.
Oh yeah,
Which I thought was funny. I was like, Netflix just does that.
yeah.
It's like, here you go. Take this guy.
But yeah,
From the show.
I love the imagery of the flashback. It works so well. Just the bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
And like
His
having
eyes
like,
looked fucking nasty.
oh yeah, they were.
Oh, they're all
gross.
pussy and shit.
But we also find out a nice little piece of evidence that helps us in future part of the episode that we'll talk
Yeah,
about. At
he
the
hears
end.
the voice of an angel when he's about to be taken by Vecna after his whole family has gotten crinkle fried. And
The spiders, John. How was that for you?
I'm gonna say pass.
yeah, lots of spiders.
It was an
Vecna
art.
is really into the spiders, which is cool with me. Yeah, so then
Do you think that his house was demolished and is now the trailer park?
Possibly.
Ooh,
Is that why
Because I
it's
think
kind
Vecna's
of-
mansion is under the trailer park, right? That's why
I don't know if we know that for sure, but that's
I
kind
thought
of
that
what
was
I'm
the
thinking.
assumption.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
And then that's where his house used to be.
Used to be, yeah.
I think so.
Because that's where weird shit started happening to Fred, and that's where he took.
Yeah, and so we're still
Christy?
trying to kind of understand, like,
No backlash from the bullies yet.
yeah, they showed up at Lucas's house and
then got
his
clowned
his
on
sister was just
by
like,
Erica.
get the
Is-
fuck out my face.
She's great, and I'm like, come on, bring her back in. Like, I know it's gonna be hard to get her into the fold, but she was so good. in
Erica's
3.
fantastic.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of her the first time I watched that season, but then on the repeat, I thought she was fucking hilarious, and I think that every moment she's had in this season has been great. And
She's
so
a
I
scene
wanna see,
stealer. She
I
really
want to see
is.
more of her for sure, but they probably have too many other characters to juggle. That
They
are,
do,
like,
because
more
now we have
important to the central plot.
4 storylines going on, at least, if not more.
I mean, if you count like a 5th storyline for the bullies,
Yeah,
which they're barely.
Bully and
dashing
Eddie, right? Max with their thing, Will with their thing, Elle with her thing, and then Hopper their thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
lot going on in this show, especially this episode.
But Creel, he says he heard the voice of an angel that kind of led him out of Vecna's realm, which we assume is kind of the Upside Down, back into reality where he finds his family murdered. And so that gives us a clue. He starts humming Ella Fitzgerald, which gets Robin, who, I mean, they're really just on it this season in terms of like figuring shit out. But I accept that because I'm like, hey, the show needs to keep moving. I'm fine with them just figuring shit out right away. But she was like, oh, he was humming Ella Fitzgerald. And then you get...
She was kind of like that in 3, though.
Yeah,
She,
no,
like,
she's
did the
very...
Russian,
I mean,
you know
she's
what
quick. Yeah, for sure. And I like them being little detectives and everything, and that's cool.
They all bring different stuff, which is fantastic. They all have different areas of expertise.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that the group keeps getting larger because they have to fight more diverse things.
Yeah, so She discovers that music may be the key to kind of saving somebody from Vecna's curse, which is very important at this very moment because somebody close to the group is
coincidental.
But I mean, that's, to me, that was like a really excellent tense moment of them, like, are they going to get, I knew they were going to, but I was like, okay, so how are they going to get to the car so they can get to the radio so they can tell Dustin that they need to get the music?
Yeah.
How are they going to do that in time? Because Max is already in the graveyard to deliver her final letter, which is to Billy.
Yeah, so let's go to it. So you mentioned her scene with Lucas, and they've kind of been tiptoeing around their breakup this whole season in parts, and we get to see them kind of confront that in a way. And like you said, Lucas gives a really good speech about, like, I don't need a letter. I just want you. Like, we're still friends. I'm still here for you.
Yeah.
I don't care about the breakup. Honestly, like, I'm not here for you as a boyfriend. I'm here for you as your fucking friend. We all are.
Yeah.
And I think at that time, that's something Max really needed to hear.
Yeah. And then I think that the reading of the letter was just
to Billy.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
And then just how it slowly turns. And it becomes this more sinister thing with Vecna. And I think that the biggest thing for me is kind of getting to actually learn more about Vecna in this moment. Vecna is essentially a representation of, like, survivor's guilt and, like, PTSD, which, of course, every time that hits, it always fucks me right the fuck up.
Yeah. The only thing we don't know is what happened with Chrissy's family.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if they died or whatever, or what she's feeling, or what her survivor's guilt is, but that's definitely true for Max. That's definitely true for Fred's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she delivers this letter to Billy, which kind of ties into what I had said earlier when she was in her trailer and she hears on the TV. I was pretty sure it was Dacre Montgomery, because it's like, hey, Billy, blah, 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 blah. So I think Vecna has been kind of behind the scenes taunting her about the Billy thing, like, throughout the last few episodes. It kind of comes to a head here where she sees Billy in this kind of upside down Vecna vision. Obviously it's Vecna in disguise taunting her as Billy, saying, like, hey, you know, you were actually kind of happy that I died, after she had just read this whole letter about basically, like,
the exact opposite.
Yeah, the exact opposite. Like, I wish we could have been friends. Like, I know you hated me, but we could have grown to like each other. My life, like, has basically been completely ruined since you died. Everything's fallen apart around me. And
even
then,
your dad was affected by this, and you thought that he hated you. Like, a lot of heavy stuff that she delivers in that letter.
Yeah, and then she's getting taunted by Vecna, and then I'm a slut for a spooky, foggy graveyard. And she starts getting chased around a spooky, foggy graveyard, and there is a headstone that very clearly says Myers in the background of one of the shots where she's running around, and I was like, that's, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Old Mike Myers.
Old Mike, man.
Someone sent me a clip earlier of season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And when Joyce and the teacher are doing the magnet thing, if you zoom in on his, like, train set, it has a Beetlejuice headstone.
Oh, that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So,
but yeah. So we get in
Easter eggs.
Yeah. We get into this tussle between the two of them. And as they're doing this, they find the rest of the crew and Nancy and Robin finally get into contact. They mention that it's music. And so Dustin comes up with the idea to try and find her favorite song. And so it ends up being the song that has now taken the world over 30 or 40 years after it was released, which is Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. And they couldn't have picked a better song for this. I know that the lyrics likely mean something different in real life, but in this moment, the lyrics perfectly capture what is necessary here. The making a deal with God so that we could switch places.
What I loved about this whole scene is you honestly didn't know if they were going to kill her or not.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, do it, because I want there to be stakes. Because the more that these kids get in danger and the more that they get out of it, the less I'm, like, worried about it.
Yeah.
And so it does lose that amount of tension. And so I'm like, yeah, do it. Part of me was like, do it, kill her.
And she's getting all wrapped up in the fucking tentacles and shit.
That,
and
and
things
then
are
we get
thrown at her.
Then we get the flashbacks, and I was like, oh, that's a classic. We're going to kill this character. Here's what they did. Here's your feelings.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, they really are going to kill her. Then I was like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Because
I regret my choice. Can I go back? Can I go back?
Sadie Sink is so fucking good in this
Well,
episode.
and that's always, I mean, that's the classic Walking Dead, like, make you
Right.
really love a character and an actor just to kill them in that
Just to
episode.
kill them, yeah. So I was like, I don't know. I have no idea still. And then up to even the end when she rips his neck off and then she starts running, and I was like, this is stressing me out, dude. And then it fucking, right before she gets to the end, it cuts to black. I was like,
I thought that was the end of the episode. I was like,
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
Mrs. Jig
Yo,
was like, I'm watching another one.
I was going to say, yeah, binge is broken if that's what happens. Sorry.
But yeah, she's able to use running up that hill to run out of Vecna's creepy blood red viney layer. It kind of looks like what the Martians turned the world into in War of the Worlds, like the red moss or whatever. Yeah, so she is able to run out. I love when she's got the headphones on and she she floats up into the air.
Yeah,
I was like, I had chills, and then when it showed the flashbacks to all of them when they were younger in the previous seasons, I just started sitting there just bawling.
Yeah.
I just couldn't control it. I was like, this is making me so fucking emotional, and usually I don't get this emotional until the end of a Stranger Things season. The finale usually hits me, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna be a fucking mess by the end of this season if I'm already getting this emotional, halfway through or whatever.
Yeah, Mrs. Jigsaw hit me with after the episode was over, she hit me with the "you okay?" and I was like, no.
I immediately got text from both of them
and could not stop. I was
oh,
it was like a few minutes of just like actual like
yeah, because the conversation with Lucas is like borderline. Okay, I'm about to get sad.
Yeah.
And then the letter to Billy, I was like, okay, I'm about to be real fucking sad. And then that whole scene, I was like, oh dear God.
But she makes it out.
Yeah.
She's back with her friends, which it made me so happy that they were able to have that conversation beforehand, and now she's out and she's okay, and she can kind of, I hope, take that conversation to heart. And now that she's survived this,
I love the line when she gets out. She's like I'm not gone yet, and I think that it still shows that there's plenty of danger remaining, and I think there's still a slight possibility that my theory might be true and that she's going to die by the end of the season. I hope not.
I am almost certain that at least one of the main group is going to die by the end. I've heard whispers that the finale is supposed to be a bloodbath. I don't know how many of the main characters that means. But
part 1 finale or the season finale?
The season finale coming out in July. I don't know anything about the future episodes, but that's just what I've heard. So yeah, I mean this. I haven't cried like that and probably since The Little Prince.
This was far and away the best episode of this season. It's likely up there with some of the best episodes of the show.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and like rewatch some of the highlight episodes from previous seasons to really compare. But yeah, definitely the best episode in its entirety too, not just for that moment at the end, but I thought like all of the way this episode was put together, even with the Hopper stuff, like I thought that it all just worked so well, and I just really love how much the season is ramping up toward something big. And this really is feeling like we're getting toward the end of Stranger Things in general. Like it's starting to feel like they're coming up to, because I could see this being all set up for the final season being like the final confrontation with whether it's Vecna or like the big bad of the Upside Down for them to finally defeat whatever it is. I could see that being the whole final season, and this being all like just the penultimate lead up to that confrontation. Seems to me like Vecna is supposed to be set up to be like the evil of the Upside Down. Like he's been here since who knows how long. Dustin says before the dinosaurs, maybe even.
Well, we know for sure before Elle, so it wasn't her that
caused it.
Yeah,
she didn't create the Upside Down.
So
she just made a doorway.
This was present, right? And then the shit happens with Victor, and then that's why they decided to put the lab in Hawkins.
Yeah,
was because there's something.
That's my thought. Is that they were like, oh, there's like a Buffy type Hellmouth here in this town, so we're gonna put our lab here.
It has to be.
Yeah.
There's no way that it's not.
Well, and I think we're going to get more flashbacks to
Brenner
and Elle, like when she was younger, and see more of like, yes, that's probably exactly what happened. Is they set up this lab specifically here because they knew about Vecna and they knew about getting into this like other world or whatever. So it'll be really interesting to see how they kind of tie all of these seasons together into what they got going on now.
Yeah,
I'm fucking ready.
Any predictions for what's going to happen next week? I have a sneaking suspicion that we are going to get a downbeat episode from this because I don't think they're going to. I don't think it's going to continue running up the hill. I think that we're going to get a little drop off. We're going to get some questions answered, probably some more questions
I could see this being
presented.
more of a question answer episode because I think now we're going to start slowing down and learning more about who Vecna is and like what the backstory for this for the lab and everything. Like I have a feeling we're going to start getting more into like the explanation part of it now that we've gotten past the like crazy climactic like mid-season point.
Yeah,
this is where they're going to slow down and start explaining things.
I'm fine with that. I don't think I could handle another emotional outburst in the same way that this episode did me.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get a continuation of Hopper. Figure out what's going on there. I think we're going to get the bullies with Eddie the Freak, and that's going to come to some head, I think, in the next episode, or at least progress further. And then I think that Mike and them are going to meet up with the rest of the crew, and we're going to kind of get together, and then probably maybe a little peek at what Elle's doing.
Yeah, very interested to see what Elle's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe more Elle. Maybe it'll be all Elle. Maybe it'll be
I'm fine with that.
8 episode.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Shows like to do that sometimes, where it's like we're going to avoid a character for a whole episode and then do an episode fully about that character. Yeah.
Well, I think overall we really liked this one. So if you
Just a
did
bit.
too, let us know. And if you didn't, let us know why. Because I don't know.
Yeah,
You got no heart.
What's wrong in your brain?
Anyway, next week we are talking about the final episode of Obi-Wan, the 5th episode of Stranger Things, and for our main discussion, we are talking about The Thing from Another World, the John Carpenter The Thing, and the remake sequel prequel of The Thing.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead's The Thing.
There we go.
I'm happy about one of these things.
I'm happy about 2 of them.
About Mary Elizabeth Winstead and then the thing.
No. I'm excited. I've never seen the original.
Yeah.
So I want to see.
I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't hate the 2011 remake. I think it has some interesting things, especially if you watch it back to back with the original thing. But yeah, we'll get into all that next week.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
And thanks again to Randy.
Thanks again for Randy for joining us. Check out his new game coming out, and we'll see you next time. I've been Tone, Counselor Tone.
I've been Counselor John.
And I've been running up that hill, running up that building. Counselor Anthony. Internet darling.
Thanks again.
Keep it campy.
For exclusive episodes, early access, merch, and to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Porcelain Peak.
Thanks to all our patrons for the support, and special thanks to producers Chuck, Rob, Ashley, and Michael.
You can find Porcelain Peak on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
Wherever you listen, don't forget to rate, review, share, and subscribe so you never miss a thrilling episode.
Special thanks to Roger Jackson for introducing the show, and to Jeff For Real for composing the Porcelain Peak opening and closing song.
All content and episodes are written, produced, designed, and edited by the Porcelain Peak team, consisting of Anthony Perez, John Brasher, and Anthony Silva.
This has been here words for Weirdos Production.